How you doing?
I'm good, although I'm boiling right now.
Yeah, what is it out there?
I'm doing really well.
It's about 30 odd degrees, isn't it? Are we at 30 today?
Yeah.
God.
It feels like more like 40 as far as I'm concerned. I'm boiling.
Yeah, I'm stuck in my little home office and I've got blackout curtains on there, and then I've got like a great big studio light here, and it just cooks you.
Oh.
But oh well,
Yeah.
never mind. Right, folks, this is Vanessa Ruck, also known as the Girl on a Bike. If you follow her on Instagram, YouTube, and I think you're on just about every social media platform going, aren't you?
Yeah, and Facebook.
Oh, and Facebook as well, yeah. So
And for Facebook, yeah.
there'll be some links in the podcast description, and if you're watching the video, in the description of the vid, I'll put all Vanessa's social links and everything like that, the website, it'll all be down there. So make sure you check out all that and give her a follow, subscribe, all the rest of it. Right, well, thank you very much for coming on, Vanessa. Cheers for that. We've got lots to talk
Absolute
about.
pleasure. I'm honoured.
Oh, don't be daft. No, God, I mean, you're an interesting person. You've got a hell of a story to tell as well. So I'm sure it's going to be an entertaining couple of hours, maybe. First off, what's your tipple of choice?
I'm on a gin and tonic.
Oh, gee whiz, like a pint of it. Good effort. Well, slang, cheers to you.
Yeah. Well, I figured we'll be here for a while. Lots of ice.
You've got to keep hydrated, obviously. Cheers.
Exactly. Safety first. So cheers.
Right, well, we've got loads of questions. I posted questions up onto the various social media platforms, and people have responded. So there's plenty for us to crack on with. But first off, for anyone that doesn't know you, hasn't been following your story, I'll hand it over to you. Just who are you? What do you do? Where'd you come from?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm just a girl from Oxfordshire in England, and I'm no one famous as far as, a professional athlete, a rich dad, a movie star, or anything like that. The Girl on a Bike actually came about after a pretty horrific life-changing accident back in 2014. Mm-hmm. And through my journey back to recovery, both physical and mental in terms of that journey, I have discovered motorbikes, and now I'm pretty sure it runs in my veins, and I'm a little bit obsessed with bikes, everything to do with them. And so the Girl on a Bike has kind of grown and morphed, and it turns out sort of the energy that I put out through my love for bikes seems to be enjoyed by other people, and I share what I do as the Girl on a Bike, really.
Yeah, you are probably, I would say, the most positive person I've met. You are a bundle of positivity, a bundle of optimism, and it really is refreshing, and it's a joy to be around. And I know for a fact a lot of people, before you actually agreed to come on here, a lot of people contacted me and said, do you follow the Girl on a Bike? I think she'd make a great guest, got lots to chat about, and everyone loves the positivity. So keep doing what you're doing. It obviously impacts on a lot of people. Right,
that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. No worries. You know what? I mean, you're very active on your social media, and it's always such a positive message. It is, and it obviously helps a lot of people out there. So keep doing what you're doing. There's way too much negativity in the world, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I think the key for me there is that so often when you go on social media, it can actually be quite toxic because everything is perfect and you've got these shiny squares, and actually, life isn't always perfect. Yeah. And that's something that I'm really want to share, is that not every day is amazing, and life does throw battles and kick us curveballs, but actually facing anything with a smile, it's going to be easier. So putting out real life, I guess, is what my goal is. Showing the ups and the downs.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Totally agree with you there about social media. I think social media can be such a fantastic, positive medium and vehicle for you to make change, to interact with people, to have positive impacts on people, but it can also be, as you said, horrendous, the polar opposite of what it definitely should be. There's a couple of platforms that I almost steer well, like Twitter. I find Twitter really toxic, especially at the moment, and I'm very rarely on there anymore. Reddit can be a nightmare. It can be really good, but yeah, I sort of, there's a few I just steer clear of, to be honest. Right, how about we crack on with some questions and just see where it takes us? How about that?
That sounds fantastic.
Awesome. Right. First off, we'll go to Patreon. The only time I'll mention it, folks. Patreon.com/teapot1. Massive thanks to all of you in the clan over there. You've certainly stepped up to the mark. Quite a few questions here. First one, Ollie Rai. He says, fantastic. I've recently started following Vanessa's channel. Couple of questions. First one, what's the first thing you want to do once you're fully recovered?
Oh gosh, that's a big question. I think I'm going to struggle to answer that in a direct... I'm not wanting to be a politician, but a full recovery is a journey. And there's lots of things that are going to give me a lot of pleasure in a progressive way. So it's not about running a marathon straight away. Recovery isn't like that. And if you set expectations of coming out of major hip surgery and going in with a marathon is the first thing that's going to tick your box, you're not going to have very positive energy, because you've got to set achievable goals, and each day give yourself something that's going to make you go, yes! Like, I made it to the toilet on my own. I didn't wee on myself in a bedpan. I put my own socks on. Yeah, I'm terrible with bedpans. I probably shouldn't tell the world that, but they're awful. Setting yourself little steps and goals. So I think, the big goal, the ultimate recovery for me, is going to be competing at Red Bull Romaniacs, which I was meant to be doing in July.
Yeah.
COVID has, set that aside anyway. But for 2021, competing Red Bull Romaniacs hard enduro is my, that's what I'm really working towards right now. But that's not my goal that's keeping me going today, because you've got to have little goals as such. So, going out for a cycle on my road bike will be a big achievement. Getting out and going just gentle green laning on my Husqvarna, that's going to feel amazing.
Yeah.
So there's little steps towards those big goals. And I think that's quite important when you're battling recovery, is to remember that little steps and little bits of a smile add up.
Yeah, definitely. Baby steps, finish the marathon. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But you must have... There must be one thing in your head that you're thinking, oh, that I want to get to do that. What would you say that is? Do you think that's green laning? Just your first bit of gentle green laning?
Going to Wernsley Quarry in North Wales.
Yeah. Blimey.
That's it.
We are polar opposites.
I love it there.
You've seen my attempt at off-roading down in Spain, and I just don't think it's my thing. I really don't. But you seem to gel with it, absolutely. Good question, Ollie. Second part, for both of us. If you could only eat one type of meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? Blimey. One meal for the rest of your life.
That's quite easy for me.
Go on then.
It's going to be a really nice steak on the barbecue with some homemade chips, some asparagus, and some sweet corn, like corn on the cob.
Asparagus?
Yeah, I like asparagus. I don't know, it came to mind with the steak with sweet corn chips.
Right.
It's a nice compromise. You've got a bit of colour and variation. You've got some good protein.
Right, I get that. Asparagus.
Was I too specific?
No, not at all. But asparagus just doesn't come to my mind at all. I just think makes your wee smell. That's all I think.
That's true.
Steak.
Are we concerned that we've mentioned we twice already?
No problem. It sets a tone. Sets a tone as to where this conversation's going. I wouldn't worry about it. You'll fit in well with my lot, don't worry. Steak, yeah.
Perfect.
I agree with you there, steak. I think I could probably live on steak for the rest of my life. Corn, yes. Asparagus probably wouldn't be there. But yeah, it'll be steak, home cooked chips, onion rings, probably peas, mushrooms, bit of gravy. That'd do me. I could live on that for the rest of my life.
Onion rings. You've blown it out of the water with onion rings.
See, we're both starving now, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm going to start eating my ice cubes.
I've just seen who the next question is. If you've seen any of these before, you might recognise this name, Pete English. He's got a little bit of a reputation. So Pete's asking, question 1. What year are you hoping to do the Dakar? And do you know where it will be held, as next year it's hopefully going ahead in Saudi?
Oh my. I don't know. It's something that I really would love and am wanting to work towards.
Yep.
But I have to be realistic with my body. And at this point of time, having just had my 7th surgery after being hit by a car, I don't actually know if my body would be able to. There's mental strength and there's, fitness and training, but actually mechanically, that might be my blocker, which is quite devastating to think about.
Yeah.
But again, you have to be realistic and set goals. And I don't want to write my body off for the next 50 years for the sake of one event, which would be absolutely the most amazing thing you could possibly experience. But that's... So I'm still... my eyes are on the horizon, that's for sure. I think realistically, time-wise, asking that question, a 3 or 4 year from now goal is probably the most realistic, given I'm 2.5 weeks post-hip surgery right now.
And in that time, you'll do progressively more and more strenuous activity, and then you'll start entering competitions, and you'll do higher and higher levels of competition, and you'll be able to gauge yourself, won't you? Yeah. Realistically, what are the prospects and when to go. No, good. That'll be exciting. Wow. Yeah, see you doing that. I had Dario Leonetti last week. He's the cameraman and editor for Lyndon Poskett for the Eco Race and the last Dakar that they did. And that was really interesting. Yeah, it was really interesting chatting with Dario and hearing the sort of behind the scenes stories. I'm hoping to get Lyndon on, actually, if all going well. I should be getting him on for a chat as well. So that'd be great to chat with someone that's actually done the Dakar as well and hear about it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You mentioned your accident there. I kind of assumed that people will ask about that in the questions, which is why I didn't really cover it in the intro, but probably I reckon what we'll do after Pete's next question, we'll cover that just in case nobody asks about it, because it's obviously fundamental to who you are as a person now and the journey you've been on.
Yeah.
So Pete's second question, what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
Oh my goodness. Most spontaneous thing I've ever done. That's a really hard question. I mean, I think the first thing that jumps to my mind, I don't know if it counts as all that spontaneous, but it was life-changing as a decision, was I was bedbound after a hip surgery. And I woke up in the morning, and to this day, I don't know where it came from. I rolled over to my husband and I said, please, can I get a dirt bike? I have no idea where the inspiration came from. At that time, I had, the Harley Davidson road bike, and I had done no off-roading as such.
Seriously?
And we decided that, okay, let's do it. And we went out and we did some research, worked out what was the best first off-road bike, found one, went and bought it. We were lucky that we found a pretty good condition old Yamaha, and we got it. And I then had it. It was 5 months that I could even sit on it, but I had it and it was a goal and it was something I worked towards. And that decision that I just was lying in bed, I woke up in the morning and went, I want a dirt bike. And I wouldn't be here now with the, the Love for Enduro if I hadn't had that moment.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably, I don't know if that counts as spontaneous.
God, yeah, just a bit. I mean, was there, so you'd had no experience off-roading before? It just popped in your head?
So... No, well, I'd technically ridden kind of a wannabe Honda off-road bike.
Right.
How many years before? It was back when I lived in the Bahamas when I was 21. And since then, I mean, there were years before I had motorbikes until after the accident. So, yeah, no, there were no motorbikes as far as off-roading in my world at all.
Blimey. So come on then, let's cover this. What What was the accident? What happened?
Yeah, okay. So it's probably worth saying a little bit about what life was like before the accident, because it sort of sets the scene a little bit.
Yep.
I was definitely adrenaline junkie. I lived for physical activity, pushing my body and feeling that kind of burn of endorphins of doing extreme sports. Kitesurfing was my main sport. I lived for it. I was a team rider for a brand. All of our holidays were snowboarding, kitesurfing, snow kiting, rock climbing, mountain biking. Everything was sports. My normal week, I'd commute to work 16 miles a day. I'd gym 3 or 4 days in my lunch break. Summer evenings, we'd wakeboard after work. Weekends, we'd chase the wind and go kite surfing. If there was no wind, we'd rock climb, mountain bike. So you get the picture. It was all
sounds
sports.
Horrific.
You made me laugh. It was amazing to me.
No, and me. God, I'd love to.
But that all changed in a single moment. So March 2014, it was a really normal Tuesday. I jumped on my road bike, cycling home, and I was actually on the way to the wakeboarding lake to meet my husband. Had some friends for some wakeboarding, barbecue, and I was about a mile down the road coming out of Oxford, and a car coming the other way decided not to stop at their red light and cut straight across in front of me.
Oh.
And I had nowhere to go. It went straight across in front of me and boom, right into the side of the car. And that moment changed the world as I knew it. It really did. At the time, I didn't really know the full extent of my injuries. I had to be helped off the road and the ambulance came, but I was sent home from the hospital that evening with bruising. I'm now 6.5 years on. I'm 2.5 weeks post my 7th surgery, and I have a reconstructed right shoulder and right hip.
Oh.
And I got sent home with bruising. So it's been a journey, but if I had a magic wand and I could go back to 2 minutes before that accident and make it not happen, I wouldn't change a thing. Because I'm where I am now. I have learnt so much since the accident. I'm stronger. I have a better grounding of what I care about, what's important, what's worth fighting for, what's worth getting upset about, who the real friends are. There's so many things that have come out of the journey that moment in my life gave. Yeah. That I'm actually somehow in some weird, maybe slightly twisted way grateful for it. And the girl on a bike wouldn't even exist. So that's kind of cool.
Do you sign up to the old adage, things happen for a reason? Are you a believer of that? Or do you think you make your own sort of luck, destiny?
I think it's a combination. Because I think you can make your own luck. I think you can visualize your own future and take steps and work towards goals and what you want to achieve. But I do think sometimes shit just happens.
Absolutely.
And, you've just got to deal with it and adapt. Yeah. And you can't bubble wrap and protect yourself from everything, which is one of the reasons why I'm more than happy to throw myself around on a deck bike. Just because I was broken before, I'm going to have some fun still.
Excellent. I know, I totally agree with you. I sign up to that as well. I think life has a habit of throwing you opportunities. They might not strike you as opportunities at the time, but I think how you deal with what happens in life certainly determines what path you're going to go down, doesn't it? And I think as long as you have sort of an end goal as to what you want, and you focus your intention and your being on how you're going to achieve that, and you just deal with whatever comes your way, and it might send you down a different path. You never know, but I just think I totally agree with what you're saying. Just you make what you will of the opportunities that come to you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I think that really classic, completely overused saying of one door closes, another door opens is so true. Yeah. But the reality is that door opening might not be in sight. You might have to go through a few different corridors or different roads to find that door, but there's always something that's going to come out of it. You just got to find it.
Absolutely.
And stay focused to find it.
Yeah. And if you think, oh, well,
Yeah.
that door's shut, then you're never, ever going to see what's on the other side, are you? So, yeah. Cool. That's
True.
deep. That's deep for this early on. Cheers for that, Pete.
This is deep.
Yeah. Right, next question then. Chris Parry. As a lady, where do you get your motorcycle kit from? My wife loves being pillion, but hates that 99% of female kit is pink. Please help keep a loving husband... Well, no, what's it? Please help a loving husband sort his wife's problems. Kit.
Well, I have to say first, you're a really lovely husband. I love that. And
Creep.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Just because I'm a girl, it doesn't mean I want pink. But, okay, so I'm guessing we're talking road stuff because we're talking about pinions.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah.
For me, my absolute favourite on the protective trouser side is Rocker.
All right.
Rocker Company. They are not the cheapest, I'm going to be honest on that one. However, the way I like to think about a lot of motorcycle jeans is they are like condoms with holes in them. So,
Okay, explain.
now you're listening. Okay, high impact areas having the Kevlar. I'm sorry, but when I fall off my motorbike, I'm not going to be thinking, quick, stop, only let the high impact area touch the ground. Any part of my body, my shin, my hip, my ankle could hit the ground. So if I come off the bike, I want to know that in that moment, heaven forbid, I need that protection, I'm going to have it anywhere because I don't know what I'm going to hit. It might be, the centre partition scraping part of my leg. So anyway, I'm going off on a total rant about protective clothing. Kevlar and Dyneema and all those kind of structures, just make sure it's a full trouser, and Rocker do absolutely incredible jeans to the point that I've rocked up at corporate business interviews in Rocker jeans and you can't tell they aren't
All right.
beautiful, lovely fitting jeans. I've got a black pair, a dark denim pair, a ripped light denim, cool with the down with the kids kind of got ripped jeans.
Yeah.
They just do really nice styles. They fit beautifully. They wash really well. They last well. So Rocker trousers.
Okay.
On the top, jacket-wise, Climb do some nice jackets. I think Ricker and Climb are my two favourite jackets. They, for the Ricker side, I like them because they are well fitted and I don't want to be kind of boy-y, I like to have a waist and a bit of shape around my chest area.
Show off the form.
And there you go, you've got the wording. And then I also really like my Climb one, but it's actually a men's jacket. And the reason I really like that is because it is just comfortable. If it's raining, it's completely long enough. There's no gaps or bits where wind can get in. So for colder winter riding, that's my definite must-have.
Right.
And it's not really the question, but if you're a girl like me, getting cold is a really big one when you're riding. So I always wear merino base layers.
Yeah.
What's it called? Icebreaker base layers, swear by them. I also wear them enduro riding in the winter.
Iceberg, did you say?
Icebreaker.
Icebreaker, right.
And then I have a Gerben heated jacket, which has got it's like a little gilet with a battery inside, so you don't have to plug into the bike or anything like that. It lasts for about 4 hours on low. Absolutely amazing. The best thing I bought. I wear it all over the place, even in the garage in the winter. I'll have that on under a hoodie and 3 coats. It's better than a hot water bottle and in your jumper, that's for sure.
Right, well, there you go, Chris. There you go. Pretty. That sounds like it's going to be an expensive Christmas shop or birthday shop for you, I think.
Your wife can thank me later.
Yeah, definitely. Andy Bowen, motorbike tourer. Question for Vanessa: you've got 20 grand burning a hole in your pocket. What would you get and why? Bike-wise, obviously.
Bike-wise.
And that could be kit. Doesn't necessarily have to be a bike, but let's say kit as well. So if there's a bit of kit that you maybe wanted to get.
I'm not very good with these questions. Because
We've got all the time in the world, don't worry.
No, it's because I'm so content and grateful for the bikes that I have that I don't really want to wish for something. Like, I'm just really happy that I've got bikes. I feel so lucky. Okay, that's not the answer you want. Okay, I reckon it would probably be either the GS 1250.
What, adventure or standard?
Adventure.
Would you?
Or a Tiger 900.
Okay. Right, GS. Obviously, I'm a GS fanboy. Why would you take the adventure over the standard?
Oh. I don't know.
It's just something I'm always intrigued by why people go for it. Because they're exactly the same bike, except the adventure has a little bit more weather protection and it's got a 30 litre tank rather than a 20 or 23, whatever the standard has. That's pretty much it. So it's the same size engine, but it's like another 40 odd kilograms in weight. And I just think, well, it's going to be slower then.
Okay, I don't want the adventure. Can I change my mind?
Of course you can. Do what you like.
I'm not massive clued up on GSs, so I just thought that was like the road or the off-road one. So I just wanted the one that was more adventurous in my answer. So I'll be completely honest. I just went, adventure sounds fun.
I think
no knowledge.
I think the adventure possibly has a slightly different shock. Maybe it might be a little bit softer. Okay. I think I couldn't tell you for sure, but I mean Lyndon. We both know Lyndon from Toro Trail and Toro Adventure. Yeah. He takes the GSs, and they're the standard GSs, the HP ones. He takes them to Morocco, and he does some fairly reasonable off-road on them. So they can do what they do. That's interesting, GS. And then the other one you went for was the Tiger 900.
Yeah, I haven't ridden it yet, but I did a ADV trip out in Bolivia on the Tiger 800 with Nova Adventures, and those bikes really impressed me. That was really my first proper encounter with ADV riding and that sort of style, and I think I was really naive in thinking that it was kind of a jack of all trades trying to be good at everything, but actually they really are pretty darn good at everything. I didn't expect to be peg scraping around the incredible roads in Bolivia and then on the exact same bike climbing up a volcano. Yeah. Off-road. They're so capable. It was amazing. Adventure is just in their blood, really. And I've heard such good things about the 900 that I think I'd want to, I'd obviously try it before I went and bought it with my 20 grand. Yes, can I have this 20 grand?
Yeah, Andy's got it for you. Andy Bowen's his name. Just chat, cool. not chat him up, but
let me write that down.
Send him a question on Insta. Motorbike Tourer. Yeah, I've heard some good things about the 900. Definitely, yeah. I tried the 800, not off-road, but I tried the 800, and compared to the 12, it sort of lacked a bit. But then I know from people that had taken it off-road, they all said the 800 was the better off-road compared to the 12. And then those that I know who've taken the 900 out, I think Andy, the Missenden Flyer, he's taken the 900 out and he loved it. He says it's one of the best bikes he's ridden. So yeah,
that's what I've heard.
It's interesting what you say there about these adventure bikes, and that I was exactly the same. They used to be the enemy to me. I used to look at them and just think, you bloody idiots. It's like it's no use for off road. It's no use for the road. You're living a dream that you're never going to have. Stop trying to be Ewan McGregor. Then I rode one, and it was like, shit, this is actually a good bit of kit, and as you said, it does like 90% of the things, 90% well on everything. It does everything, doesn't it? Yeah. So if you've not ridden one,
the first time I rode a GS, I was going along on the motorway. I was sat going quite fast. So let's just say I was sat at 70, because obviously that's the speed.
Maintaining speed. Yeah.
I was sat there going, this is really weird. What is going on? And I just couldn't work out what. It just felt something was wrong. And then I realised that my visor was open. And I ride a Harley. Like, there's absolutely no fairing or anything to protect you. And I was sitting at that speed, a little bit higher, with my visor open, absolutely blissfully happy, and my eyeballs were completely fine. I wasn't blinking and drying out, eating flies, just content. And that moment was like, yeah, this is a comfortable bike to do some distance.
See, I was the opposite of you. I'd never ridden a Harley, but obviously I've owned a couple of GSs now, so I'm a proper GS convert. And I used to think that Harleys were sort of, similar sort of attitude I had towards GSs and GS riders was kind of what I thought of Harleys. I just thought, like, it's no use compared to today's technology. It's living on a bygone age kind of thing. And then I've had the opportunity to ride a few, and it's like, oh, I get it now. I totally get it. It's just the ones that I've ridden, it's not about performance. It's about, like, sounds weird. It's like a soul. You feel the soul of the bike coming through, and it's just, you sat there cruising along and you think, yeah, I get this now. I totally get this.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think you cannot mock it till you've tried it.
Absolutely.
And you have to try a couple, because there's a reason why there are lots of different style Harleys, and everyone likes a slightly different style or feel or, seating position, etc. Yeah, there's something about them.
What's your one again?
I totally agree. Street Bob. Dyno Street Bob, 2015.
And what's it called again? I can't remember what you call yours.
Thug,
that's right. It's the blue one, isn't it? Yeah. If you follow Vanessa's Instagram, you'll see loads of pictures of the various different bikes, and they all have their own little personality and names that go with them. Yeah. It's a cool bike.
They do.
Gary Crook, next one. Question for Vanessa. Who is your biggest influence in your life, and where do you get that great inner strength from?
The biggest influence in my life. Okay, so answering the strength question. When I was a little girl, I think I was about 6 when it started, and my mother was very, very ill. And there was about a 10-year period where it was touch and go, and at one point I had to live with my mum's sister and go to a different school because my mum was in hospital, and I was too young for my dad to leave me to do my own thing and get to school on my own.
Yeah.
And so I had to live away from home for, I think it was 13 months.
Wow.
And actually had to say goodbye to my mum because she had to go in for major spinal surgery. I didn't at the time know that it was goodbye, but she did. She knew it was a 50-50 chance. And so through that period of my childhood, I saw the strength that my mum had and the resilience that she had to keep going. And she got up. Yeah, there were loads of days where she didn't get out of bed at all, but she kept going, and she came out the other side. And I think I grew up seeing that kind of strength, and it's sort of installed in me that you can push on and you can get through this stuff.
Yeah.
Quite a deep answer.
No. I mean, it's often that's the root of sort of influence in people's lives, isn't it? And strength. Yeah. Yeah. Probably same for me, to be honest. My mum was a massive influence in my life growing up, more than I think I realised at the time. And it was only towards the end, she passed away from cancer, and it was only sort of towards the end I really realised that. And then certainly after she'd passed away, it was like, God, my dad always worked in the oil, and he worked away for massive parts of my life. He was working offshore or working in other countries. So basically my mum was the one that raised us, and you're like, bloody hell, I can see how tough that would have been for her and what she put up with. Yeah. And then seeing what she went through towards the end as well, you see that sort of deep inner strength in people. Yeah. Gives you a new appreciation, doesn't it, for folk and what they're capable of. God, this is a bloody deep one, this week.
It is. Gonna need a stronger drink.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. God, I think I finished my first one already. It must be about 110 degrees in here at the moment. Whew. I've got my window open,
Yeah.
so folks, if you can hear cars going by and birds tweeting, I do apologise, but it's like a sweatbox in this room. Sheesh. Right, next one we've got here, Gareth Jib Africa Twin. Your Instagram account shows you on a number of bikes. What style would you say defines you?
Ooh, do I have to be defined by a style? Ooh.
Don't label me, man.
Oh, gosh, you've got some deep questions coming in.
I know. I think
what am I know. The one with 2 wheels and an engine.
like it. Like, have that, Gareth Jib Africa Twin. Like it. Do you attribute any personalities to your bikes? Do you treat them as, not treat them as people, but I mean, I give all mine names, and I definitely talk to them. Yeah, it's not just me. Thank God for that.
Absolutely, you have to talk to them because that's how you make your bond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I reckon I speak to Buddy, the Husqvarna T250i Enduro bike, the most.
yeah.
Because I really need Buddy to look after me in a lot more situations than where I put myself on the Harley or the Trials bike, because
Yeah.
I tend to hit things on Buddy where I am genuinely terrified.
Now,
So yeah, I need Buddy support.
you do some pretty hardcore off-roading. We're not talking about green lane in here, folks. So get yourself across to Vanessa's Instagram and have on Facebook. And probably you got the YouTube channel as well, don't you? Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
So get
There's
yourselves.
some good fail videos on my YouTube. Actually.
They always go
So
down
if you
well,
like
don't they?
seeing-
Yeah, Vanessa pretty much throws herself into this stuff. So yeah, check them out. Where else were we? Andrew Scott. It's riding a Harley. It's a bit like wearing Crocs. You're saying to the world that you've given up. Oh, fair enough, Andrew. If you go back in time...
Well,
yeah, he has a question. He does have a question.
okay.
I think Andrew's actually a Harley rider. I think. I'm not sure. If you go back in time and do one thing to alter the course of history, what would it be? Well, that's interesting because you kind of touched on that earlier. So if you could go back in time and alter one thing, what would it be?
Probably it's going to have catastrophic implications, but I'd probably stop the creation of plastic in the form that we know it, that is populated in our sea.
Wow. Cool. Now that's deep. That is deep. Yeah. Have you seen... Sorry, go on.
No, go.
Have you seen the young chap, I think he's 20 odd years of age, who is designed, he's got this project going on in the major rivers, I've chatted about this before actually, where he's trying to clean out all the plastic in the ocean. So him and his team, I think he was like 16, 17 when he first came up with this idea, and they thought it's pretty much impossible to go out into the world's oceans and start scooping up all the plastic. It's just never going to happen. It's going to be a never-ending battle. So they did a load of research and they identified 5 major rivers in the world that have something like 95%. They produce 95% of the plastic that ends up in the oceans. So they said, right, let's start targeting those 5 tributary rivers, and then that will effectively stop any more plastic coming in. So then it's not going to be increasing anymore. It's going to be a finite number that you can then deal with. So he's developed these floating pontoons that basically sit on the tidal estuary parts of these rivers, and the plastic just floats downriver and into this collection area, and it just automatically gets collected up, whacked into a floating barge, and then that's taken away to be recycled. And he's having a massive impact already on it. I can't remember his name. It's on Instagram. How am I going to do it? I will put a tag in the description of the podcast and in the YouTube video. I'll put a tag there, and it's well worth checking out. It's amazing. Had you never heard of it then?
It's a good idea. No, but I've heard of people. There's like a really young kid in, I think it's Thailand, who has made a plastic that will completely. Okay, I'm going to make this is maybe fake news, so my memory. A good part of this is going to be true,
Yeah.
but it might not be completely factually accurate. But it's along the lines of a plastic form that's made from seaweed that is actually edible as well, but will function as what we would consider plastic for a good period of time, but then you can eat it. So take having a burger, you can get your burger in a box, but there is no waste because you then eat the box. Whether it tastes like cardboard, I don't know.
Don't know if I fancy
But
that.
it's all these sorts of things where if
Yeah.
you could go back in time and say, no, plastic, that's not a good invention
Yeah.
for the human race, for the world that we live in, for the planet, for the ecosystems. Let's not mass produce that. Let's work something else out. Let's take a little bit more time and do something more intelligent.
That's a bloody good idea. Yeah. Wow. Can't argue with that one, can you? Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. Get rid of plastic.
What's yours?
God, gee whiz. If I could go back at any point, alter the course of history. Blimey. See, I always make a point of not reading these questions, so I'm never forearmed with them. It's just, you get a real honest initial answer, don't you? But sometimes it stumps you. Go back in time and do one thing to alter the course of history. Right, this just came to me thinking about it, and it's very topical, and that's probably why it popped in my head. But stop Martin Luther King being assassinated, just to see what happened after that. Just to see. Because it seems like that was such a pivotal point at the time. I suppose, did we know much about that over here in the UK? I don't know if we knew much about it in the UK compared to how we now know what's going on in America like that because of social media. But it was obviously such a massive. It was having such a massive impact at the time, hence why he was assassinated. I'd just like to see how things would be different, if they would be different now. Who knows?
It's incredible to think when, I don't know, people often say that, the one thing that they do isn't, you can't make a difference to the world. And you always got to think that if you don't think you can make a difference and you're too small to make a difference, try going to sleep with a mosquito. And it's incredible to think, your thing now is one person.
Yeah.
And it probably would have made a huge difference to the course of history. And it's incredible to think that.
Yeah.
One person can change the world.
It's weird because that's not something I've ever really contemplated, to be perfectly honest, but it just popped into my head as we were chatting. You think, bloody hell, yeah. I wonder how much of a difference was it that he's no longer here? I don't know. It's weird one at the moment. This whole. We'll go there very tentatively with what's happening at the moment. But I've got to admit, it does annoy me that here in the UK, like the old Bill in the UK are given the same label that the old Bill in the States get, and I'll put my head above the parapet here, and I'll say that the vast majority of coppers in the States are not like that vile human being that killed George Floyd. That's just a despicable act by a despicable person. And I know plenty of coppers in the States, and they're not like that. They would never do something like that. But I also know they don't get anywhere near the training that we get in the UK with regards to, suspect handling, medical aid, all that sort of stuff. So you see how the States handle their suspects and casualties, and you just think, Jesus, no wonder so many people are dying in police hands, because they don't seem to have an aftercare. And I don't know I don't know if a lot of that is a racism thing. I think that's just how they deal with suspects. There's undeniable cases where it is, don't get me wrong, undeniable, and I've seen those videos. You can't justify that in any shape or form. It's horrific. But there's other ones that I watch and I go, I'm not convinced there's anything more to that other than that copper was scared for their life and they're dealing with a violent person, and that's just how they deal with violent people. But anyway, let's draw veil to that. Right, Lee Hurst. I was interested. So go on.
Can I really quickly check the camera is still
Of course you can.
happy?
Yeah, of course.
Camera is still happy.
All still
Sorry,
recording?
Thank you.
Let me...
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Lovely job. There's nothing worse than getting to the end and then realising you have no audio or you've got no video. Oh, it's happened more than once.
Yeah.
Right, next question. Lee Hurst. I was interested to hear from username Kate how some men in the biking world can make it difficult for women riders. What one thing could male riders do to make women feel more comfortable or interested in motorcycling? You're a woman, you must have all the answers.
I think all the answers. I think probably the most damaging thing to females' perception of biking is the first encounter that a lot of women get with bikes. Now, that is you're, a teenager, you've got the boyfriend that's got his bike and he's all a little bit leery and ego-y, and you get on the back, you're completely out of control because, you're just in faith holding on to this guy on a bike, and your life is in their hands and their ego takes the control. And it's terrifying. It's got to be. This isn't my first encounter. This is my perception that I think a lot of women's encounter with bikes is going on the back.
Right.
And riding a bike, particularly anybody that's watching this thinking, oh yeah, it's terrifying being on the back of a bike. It is not the same riding the bike.
No, God no. I hate being pilloried.
Totally different.
Hate it.
Yeah. So much trust to go on the back of a motorbike with somebody else. I think I will only go on the back with probably my husband, dad, and people I really, really know. I wouldn't just get on the back of a stranger's bike.
Yeah.
Oh, that just reminded me of a really horrible story.
Go on.
When I took someone on the back of my bike.
Go on, we're all ears.
Okay, Don't laugh before I've told the story. Gosh, I couldn't be a comedian. Okay, I was at Pasquet Off-Road Centre in North Spain, and I was on my enduro bike riding around, and I come across, there's a main fire track around this. It's like a hard enduro playground, heaven.
Yeah.
There's a fire track. I'm coming down the fire track, actually on my way back to the van to get a refreshment, and there's this guy in full enduro kit on the side of the track, looking a little bit like he should probably have a motorbike but didn't. So I pull over and ask if he's okay. Turns out his mates had a fall, his bike's damaged, and he needs to get back to the van to get help to blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, do you want to jump on the back? And he's like, yeah, fine, yeah, please, love to. And he jumps on the back, holds on to me, riding along, everything's fine. And then I just start feeling this really firm object into my lower back.
No.
And I'm like,
no.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Please tell me it was a screwdriver or something like that.
No, I think he enjoyed that journey back down the bumpy track. I didn't know where to look when he got off the bike. I drove away very quickly.
Wow. Ooh, what can you say about that then? Yeah.
Yeah. Ladies, be careful who you let on the back of your motorbike.
Yeah, it sounds it. It sounds it. Bloody hell. Wow, I'm a bit thrown by that, Vanessa. Cheers. Right, next question. Stuart Bailey. I've started using the Kali Moto app that Bruce uses for general generating a circular route. Do you use technology for route planning, or do you prefer other traditional ways to get lost?
Ooh. I probably a combination of friends and using their experience. So if you know someone that knows the area, it's awesome just to follow them and have them show you around. But I do use an app called View Ranger, which enables you to have digital OS maps on your phone, and you can plot routes, you know, finding the legal byways, places that you can ride, and I'll plot out a route, and then I can have that on my handlebars of the enduro bike and follow it, for example. That's quite a key one for off-road riding, because there's a lot of areas that are illegal, and obviously I don't want to be riding on illegal terrain.
And
that helps me find.
Is that just in the UK, or does that cover global or Europe wide, or?
It's anywhere where you can get OS maps.
Okay. And what's it called again?
I've used it across Europe. View Ranger.
View Ranger.
It's a free app, but you pay for the OS maps.
Yeah.
If you have a physical map, you can take the code off your map and put it into it, and it will. If you buy the map, you kind of buy the map digitally and paperly.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Great English there. Paperly is the word.
Paperly. It is now. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's for off-road. What about like on-road stuff?
I just use normal Google Maps if I was plotting something, going somewhere, or, you know, speak to people about what the best routes are. No fancy technology that's going to be life-changing for you there, I'm afraid.
I used to be a firm believer in the paper map, right up until my world trip. I loved just using maps. Didn't want sat nav, and I remember I got approached by Garmin to provide me a sat nav for the round the world trip, and I really didn't want a sat nav. I was like, no, I want to use a map. But I took it on board because I thought, you know, it's a big name. It might help with the publicity and all that sort of stuff. But it totally converted me. Like I just use sat navs in my phone and everything now, and I've never got. Well, I carry a paper map for my tours, but I never use it. Yeah, it's weird that.
Yeah.
But you look at, I had Sam. Have you heard of Sam Manicum? Never heard of him.
Not springing to mind.
He's like a god in the overland world. He's a British chap.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. He was born in, I think it was Zimbabwe. Somewhere in Africa he was born anyway. He grew up down there. But he headed off. He passed his motorbike licence and then his motorbike test, and then he literally just set off to ride the world. 8 years later, he finished 200 and something odd thousand miles, 50 odd countries. 8 years later, he finished. Wow. And he, I think, still to this day, he's a map man. He's not a sat nav guy. And you look at what he did, and then you look at people like,
wow.
Excuse me, you look at all the folk that Ted Simon and people like that who travelled the world, and they never had sat navs. They just used maps. And I know a bloke called Dan Walsh, and he used he effectively used the map that he found in a fast food restaurant to navigate parts of the Americas. He just went by that map and went, yeah, that'll do. Just followed it, and off he went. Nuts. Right.
I think it's a fun way to just go where the wind takes you, really.
Aye.
I think when you use a sat nav, it's a lot more like prescriptive.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just end up and stumble on and happen to be places in quite the same way. I think there is something quite magical about just kind of knowing where your destination is and sort of going.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty exciting. But I'd almost want that map there in my pocket if I needed it.
I've got to be honest, that tends to be how I use it now, in that, and like if I've got somewhere where I need to be and there's if you've got time limits involved, then obviously I follow the sat nav, how it's telling me to go, and off you go. But if I'm just out for a ride, and I will fly the flag for Kalimoto here, Kalimoto has this random ride feature, so you can tell it how far you want to go, whether you want to, you want to get from point A to point B. You've got a final destination, but you're not worried about how long or what route you take. You can both generate me a random route, or you can say, right, I want to start and finish at this one point, and I want to do 200 miles, and I want to do it roughly in a southwest direction. And it will just work out a random ride for you, and off you go. And you can tell it how twisty you want it to be, you know, and that's that. And I've found it, even around here where I live, I've found so many roads and places that I never knew existed, because I've just literally hit the random thing and off you go. And then if you do,
Wow.
if I do see a road that I think, God, where's that go? And then you just follow that road, and, you know, the sat-nav will always figure out a way to get you where you want to go, doesn't it? So as long as you don't run out of power, you're always going to get back wherever you need to be. So I quite like using the sat-nav for that now. Just go off and explore, and once you're totally lost and had enough, figure out a way home.
What was that one called?
That's called Kalimoto.
Kalimoto. Okay.
If you want I've got some codes, and this goes to everybody. I've got some codes for, they're one of my sponsors now, actually. So if you want, they've got a free version, which is not bad, it's all right, but then they've got a paid for version. And if you want to try the paid version, I'll pass it on to you, no problem. Everyone else that's watching this or listening, drop me a line, info@teapot1, or across any of the social medias, and I'll send you a link with a code, and that'll give you a month's free use of the premium version. Check it out, see if you want to invest. I think it's something like 35 quid for the full version. So, but I'll fire that your way if you want to try it out. I think they do off-road as well. I think they do like lane stuff as well, tracks. Don't quote me on that, but I think they also do like light lane stuff. You know how much of a fan I am of off-road anyway. So
Yeah.
right, last one of the Patreon questions. Steve Meeson, this is for you. How crap are motocross races and the X Games going to be with electric bikes?
Oh, why would they be crap on electric bikes?
Exactly, that's what I think. But Steve seems to think they will. I think
if you haven't ridden one, you
Bosh.
hate them. When you ride one, you are like giddy with OMG, how on earth did it accelerate like that?
100%.
They're just silly.
Yeah.
They're silly.
Yep.
Yeah.
What you said
Yeah.
earlier about, you know, Harleys and GSs, don't knock it till you've tried it. It's just a case of you can't really have a proper qualified opinion on something unless you've experienced it. And electric's 100% that way. I dreaded the thought of electric, and then I've ridden a fair few now, and God, I love them. I think they're brilliant.
Yeah, I totally agree. I had a day with English Electric Motor Co. And they've got heaps of electric bikes. Went out on a few of them. And I mean, obviously, I'm someone that rides a ridiculously loud Harley Davidson. There is a YouTube video on my channel of the sound of her. She's redonkulous. And so going to an electric bike that's silent, obviously I'm going to hate it. No.
Yeah.
It's actually incredible hearing the bushes going past.
Yeah.
The trees with the birds in them.
Yeah.
You almost feel more connected to the environment whizzing past you. You feel closer, more grounded somehow. And oh my goodness, you're going past fast if you want to.
Oh God,
That
yeah.
talk.
It's crazy,
Yeah,
isn't it?
they are a lot of fun.
I
Crazy.
did. I've got it on one of my videos. I was out riding around Kent on electric, and I went down this backcountry lane, and I came up behind. I can't remember what car it was, but it was an electric car. So the car's electric, I'm electric, and we're both just effectively gliding along the road. And like you said, you could hear the cows mewing, you could hear the birds tweeting, and it's just like, this is nuts. This is crazy. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Please, can you say the noise that the cows make one more time?
Mooing. What? Don't be racist.
Oh, that
Don't be racist.
me. One more point to the question. I actually think electric bikes are going to be the best thing coming to enduro and motocross tracks.
Do you?
Because at the moment, the biggest thing shutting them down is noise complaints.
Yeah. Yeah.
And electric bikes are quiet. So maybe we're going to see, tracks opening up again because there won't be noise complaints. What will people have to complain about? They'll find a thing.
Of course they will.
People always do. But it could be a really good thing, actually.
That's a valid point, because there's quite a few of the traditional race circuits that they've all had to either shut down or stop doing track days because of the noise pollution. That's a good point. Didn't think of that. I think what Steve's meaning is, I mean, no one needs to tell you. You know what it's like motocross, and for me, I remember Speedway. I remember as a youngster, like my mum was English, but I grew up in the northeast of Scotland. But we used to come down on holidays to see her family, and she had a massive family, 8 brothers and sisters. So when I came down, one of my uncles and one of my cousins were right into Speedway, so they used to take me away to the Speedway races around Crystal Palace and places. And I just remember the smell. You know, the sound and the smell is what I remember about biking, and. Yeah, I get that, what people think. They think, oh, if we go to electric, you're not going to have all the other sensual stimulation that comes with it, you know, with the vibration and off of the engine and the smell and the noise and everything that goes with it. But it's just a total different element that comes with electric, isn't there? So you're taken away, but you're given with someone else as well.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Genuinely not something to be worried about, folks. It really isn't. And if you are worried about it, take an electric bike out and just try. I'll guarantee you'll love it. Guarantee you. Right, that is the clan question. So that is the clan questions. That's the better English. Those are the clan questions. We're now moving on to Instagram, Teapot1 Insta, if you're not there yet. First one, Rob Sheesh. Question for Vanessa. What's the secret of your positivity? You've already replied to him on this one, I see.
So, I think it's a really good question. And I think I've always been a glass half full person, but the accident was a serious kick of just realizing how grateful you need to be for everything that you've got around you. Because like this, it can change. It can go. And I think gratitude for the little things in life, you know, enjoying just being able to take a deep breath, the sound of the birds in the tree, all those little things add up to just making a day a whole lot better. And being grateful for everything, I think, is just the most important thing for happiness, really. Seeing all the positives. Yes, there's always going to be things to complain about, or be sad about, or be moan about, but there's always going to be something that you can be appreciative for. And I, during my recovery, being really honest, went through some really, really dark times. Times when I didn't realise the world could go that dark. I mean, I was actually at one point diagnosed with change disorder because I no longer saw myself as me.
Wow.
I talk about myself in the third person because this broken thing, this wasn't me. I was this fit, athletic person that could do sets of 13 pull-ups and kite surf and I went through some really hard times. I think the mental recovery was probably harder actually than the physical side of it. So yeah, being grateful, because it could always be worse.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, I mean, that's a fantastic character trait that you have. Absolutely, and I think, yeah, okay, you've worked at it, you've been through a lot, but it's definitely, I think, something that's a character trait that people have or they don't have. I think everybody knows people who are definite glasses half full, and it's very hard to get them to adopt that positive mindset, isn't it? You know, I've got friends who, no matter what you say to them, they'll always see the negative of it, and you're just like, come on. You feel like and I get it, I understand, because when you're in a mindset of the world's against me, everything's shit, it's very hard to take the positive out of anything, isn't it? I get that. I understand. Yeah. To a degree, I understand. But yeah, you do want to just grab some people and go, come on, you've got to get out of this. But it's probably the worst thing you can say to people, isn't it? It's just something. How do you get people? I'll go
I think
again.
So much
Go on.
I think much of it from my eyes is thinking about perspective. And when you're in that moment where everything just seems horrific, try and take a step back. I think mindfulness was a really big one for me in my recovery. Try and take a step back and consciously look at the situation. Try and put yourself outside of your shoes. And I've got two images that come to my mind as kind of nice examples. And that is roses. It's the first one. So it really sucks that roses have thorns, right?
Yeah.
You know, they're pretty evil. They can make you bleed. You know, they get caught on things. But actually, shouldn't we be really grateful that those thorns have beautiful flowers? It's just look at it from a different perspective. Another one that I love visually is you've got a little guy in a boat at sea, and he's been floating along for days on his little boat. And then you have a guy stuck on this tiny desert island with his little palm tree, and he's stuck on his little island, and the two meet. You know, the boat floats up to the island, and the guy on the boat is like, "Yeah, land!" And the guy on the island is like, "Yeah, a boat!"
Yeah,
And
I've
it's
seen
just
that.
a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I love that, because there's always another perspective. You've just got to look for it.
Definitely, I've seen that. I've seen that sort of cartoon representation of that before, and yeah, very true, isn't it? Very true. Yeah, blimey, this is a proper deep one this week. It really is. Right, next question. PJ McNaughty. I was on the DLR on my way to the MCN Excel motorcycle show and had that awkward moment where I was staring at Vanessa thinking, I know you, but don't know where I know you from. And since it's always been... since it's always been from following you on social media. I think you've replied to him already. Do you get that a lot? Do you get a lot of people sort of looking at you going, I know you, where do I know you?
When I'm at bike events, definitely. Yeah. But I love it when people say hello. So if you ever see me, please say hi. I want to say hi. I love chatting to people and meeting people.
I'm the absolute same.
So I love it when people say hello.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Was
there a question in there?
No, I think he was just saying that he saw you and thought, oh, I know you, but he didn't want to say hello. So if you do see her, say hello. I'm the same. I love it when folk come up and say hello, because it's, I don't know, it's just, I like the whole social side of all this. You know, for me, it's brilliant. I love, because I never used to be like that. I never used to be a social person. I preferred my own company. I preferred being by myself. And then I think bikes just changed everything, really. And then certainly doing the world trip, it's like a switch went off. And it's like, right, now I get it. This is me. That wasn't me. This is me. So, yeah, now I just like to talk shit to anybody. I'm quite happy. Follow the beards. Question: Harley in the Alps or dirt bike in Wales?
Dirt bike in Wales.
Yeah? You definitely... Don't take it the wrong way, but you like it dirty. You're definitely an off-road girl, aren't you? Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, the Harley was the journey to discovering off-road. So if I think about the Harleys, so my husband and I actually rode Harleys out in Texas on a honeymoon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. And then for one of our wedding anniversaries, which was 2015, my husband was in Afghanistan for our wedding anniversary. So when he got back from Afghanistan, he's in the Royal Air Force. I organised for 2 Harleys for the afternoon just to have a sort of, a kind of anniversary thing. No intention of anything other than just having a few hours on the Harleys. And obviously in my recovery at this point, it was a point between some of the major surgeries where I was, able to ride a motorbike. And we had these Harleys for the afternoon, and we went from absolutely zero intention to buy to ordering 2 in a week. It was like some kind of, in a week. We ordered one, and at this point I had a little Suzuki Bandit 600 to commute because I was no longer able to cycle to work with the injuries. So I was battling the traffic every day. So I got a little commuting bike just to be able to get to work easy when I was able to ride it, obviously with surgeries. And So we were like, well, we've got the Suzuki Bandit and we can have a Harley and we can go cruising together. And so we ordered my Harley. And then we were like, hang on a minute. You can't go cruising on a Suzuki Bandit with a Harley. Let's just go mad. And we were really lucky that we were in a position in life at that point where we could.
Yeah.
I mean, all of our adventures had stopped, our holidays, everything, because of my body. So
Yeah.
the Harleys were the best decision that we've made in my whole recovery, because they gave us that ability to have some freedom, some wind in the hair, and have an adventure that was physically completely undemanding for my body.
Awesome.
So,
And then I know you said you just woke up one night with this sort of vision that you wanted an off-road bike, but what led to that? What went from the Harley to I need an off-road bike? There must have been something.
honestly, I wish I knew. I do not know. I don't remember seeing them on the television. We've never had magazines or posters in the house. Like, they've never been a thing.
Wow.
But I honestly, the only way I can break it down to something that's remotely like a logical step is that I was always athletic, extreme sports, wanting that burn.
Mm-hmm.
And the Harley was the platform that I needed through my recovery.
Yeah.
But I was always seeking that sport, that adrenaline. And the Harley made me fall in love with motorbikes. So I think my mind went, well, hang on, how can I merge the motorbikes with something more extreme? And the enduro was kind of the obvious step. What I didn't know then is that I'd end up doing, extreme enduros and riding in the British things and signing up for Red Bull Romaniacs. It all kind of escalated.
There's a lot to this, so come on, let's go down your off-roading pedigree then. What races have you been in? What have you entered so far?
Not that many, honestly.
I thought you'd done loads.
No, I only really started enduro. I've probably done enduro for about 18 months in total, but with now 4 hip surgeries in between. So across 3.5, 4 years, since I first started, I've had 4 hip surgeries. Oh, that's horrible. It was 3 until a few weeks ago, so I'm still getting used to the number going up. And yeah, months where I haven't been able to ride. But when I've been able to, it started with gentle green laning, and then I think the biggest influence in me going from green laning fun to stepping it up was meeting Paul Bolton at Toro Trail out in Spain and doing a training day with him. And I'd been pushing my skills a little bit. I'd been doing trials riding, which is a massive foundation for enduro, but it was something that was less risky for my hip. So that was how I sort of started trying to get myself going again, back end of last year. And riding with Paul, he basically turned around to me and said, you need to sign up for the Valleys Extreme, which is kind of known to be one of the most extreme hard enduros in the UK.
Wow.
And it was in January this year, and I just laughed at him, partly because I didn't actually know what it was, and partly because it just sounded ridiculous. I mean, it had the word extreme in the name, so clearly I was going to die, and this is a stupid idea. Anyway, WhatsApping backwards and forwards to him over the next couple of weeks, he persuaded me that I should just do this. So my husband and I basically worked out that we could go along to the Valleys Extreme and do the practice day on the Saturday, which means you can get to do a portion of the course, have a go, get the experience, but it's not a race, nothing mental. And if I don't make a lap, I haven't raced, put my name in for a race and wasted all the money, etc.
Okay.
Anyway, we did it, and we did 3 laps in the time and realised that we could do it. And there were some pretty gnarly obstacles and hill climbs and some ridiculously steep stuff, but we loved it. We were buzzing. I felt so alive, chatting to people at the end of this race, and they were like, just do it, sign up for tomorrow. What's the worst that can happen? You don't make a lap.
Yeah.
So what? Have a go. It's all about the taking part. And I was like, yeah, it is all about the taking part. Let's do this. So we signed up, and my goal
you and your
was
husband?
to make...
Both of you did it?
Yep, both of us did it. We realised that we had to put new tyres on that night in the car park and get the bikes ready to actually do like a race level. Camped in the car park and woke up in the morning, signed on. And yeah, we entered this race. My goal was to do a bronze finish. So the way it works is that if you get One lap, you get bronze. If you go a lap and a half, you get silver. And if you manage 2 laps in the time, you finish as gold. That's not first, second, third as far as placement, but that's like the
Like
ranking
a reward
of
type
how-
thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was aiming for bronze. And I remember sitting on that start line. Oh my goodness. I actually wanted to cry with the fear. So if anyone knows that's watching the Valleys Extreme, you'll know that about 5 meters from the start line, there is this massive plastic drainage pipe that's like that rugged plastic, smoothie stuff that if you hit it the wrong way, you're going to slide off.
Yeah.
There's crowds everywhere. There's hundreds of people on the start line. And 5 meters ahead is a drainage pipe that wants to eat me alive.
Yeah.
What am I doing on this start line? Oh my goodness. And I basically say to my husband, who was definitely better at getting over a drainage pipe than me, you go over it, and then, you can then help me get over it if I don't
If
get
you
over
make it, I might try it, yeah.
I cleaned straight over it, brapped it. We'd walked the really tough obstacles. So there's this rock bed where there were bikes and bodies all over the place, carnage. But we picked our line, we rode towards it, and Alex and I have our Cardo intercoms on. So we're talking, chatting lines, helping each other as we go.
Is that the Pat Talk
And-
Bold, perchance?
It is Pat Talk Bold. Best intercoms ever.
It is, genuinely,
Anyway,
yeah.
we're in each other's helmets and we're like, right, our line's clear. And I absolutely bossed it straight up over these rocks, dodging the body shrapnels everywhere, cleaned it. And you can hear the crowd cheering. And I was just like, this is it. I've got this. Freaking come on, Vanessa. We can do this. And we made silver.
Brilliant.
I was just blown away. The energy I can feel right now is mad. And I remember getting to the finish line and someone asked, like, how do you feel? And I was like, this is like the best day of my life. And then I obviously look at my husband and go, oh, okay, I'm on the wedding day, because obviously that was number one.
That was all right.
And that was it. That was it. I was hooked. From then on, I want to do hard enduring.
Wow.
I dropped the bike, I fell off, I struggled, I sweated, I cursed. The rock bed. If you don't know Valleys Extreme, just Google like the rock bed, for example.
Right.
And I made it up there on my own. Anyway, I'm addicted.
Awesome.
The burn,
So-
the fails, the satisfaction. I love it.
It sounds like that sort of extreme sports background that you have. Well, I mean, it fits in the motorcycle world. It fits so well into enduro, doesn't it, and all that sort of stuff. And that's where you're getting your buzz. Yeah. No, I get that. I do get that. I'd love to be able to do it. And there's tiny little instances. I'm just editing that where we met down in Toro. I'm just editing that video at the moment, and there are, and I'll say tiny instances where I think, oh, okay, yeah, I think I get this. And then just the fear kicks in, and I just think, I fucking hate this. I'm so far out my league, it's frightening. I've got to say, I went back the next day. After the day we did it, we were all on Husky 350s, weren't we? Well, the next day, I took the big GSs out, and I went off-road with Adrian, one of the guides, and I genuinely enjoyed that day, being off-road. I really enjoyed it, but I enjoyed being on the GS, because it just... I've said before, it just felt bigger. It felt like I could balance better on it. Whereas on the wee 350, I was either leaning too far forward and felt like I was going over the front, or I was too far back, and every time I touched the throttle, I was flying back like that. I just couldn't get the balance right at all.
You've got to try it again.
I definitely will. There are so many people that all they want is for me to go off-road. So it definitely will happen. I know Lyndon hasn't given up. He definitely wants me to do a bit more off-roading. So that will happen for sure. Well, that's interesting, that. So your husband, is it Alex? Is that your husband?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocky Monster.
Rocky Monster.
Yeah. Was he an off-roader before then, or did the pair of you just...
Nope.
So you both just went for it?
Yeah, I got him into it. We started that whole journey together. When we met, we both had our full motorbike license, but neither of us had bikes. So when the bikes kind of came up, it was, we were both ready for it.
Yeah. That's interesting, because
so we've started together.
the two of you, having seen you down there at Toro, the two of you are so comfortable off-road. And, I assumed, probably chauvinistically, I just assumed that Alex had experience of off-road, and maybe that is what brought you in. But obviously chatting with you, no, not at all. It's just
No,
a vision at night. It was you that opened the door to everything. Wow. Well, there's hope that I might discover how to handle an off-road bike yet. I doubt it, but you never know. I might. We'll see. God, where were we in the questions? What had we just spoken about?
I don't even know what the last question was.
Follow the beard. Dirt bikes or Harley in the Alps. That was it.
Oh, yeah.
Right, there we go. What have we got here? Official Mr. Fish. You've been through tough times after the crash. A bit like myself. This is John saying, Mr. Fish. Do you know Mr. Fish? He's another YouTuber. He had a really bad bike accident on the road that nearly killed him. So he's gone through quite a lot, still fighting injury and stuff at the moment. But anyway, did you ever doubt you'd get back on two wheels? I know I did. I promised folks 10 years ago, and that lasted 3 years. So basically, he promised his wife and everybody that you'd never ride again. 3 years later, he's like, I need back on it. Sorry about that, folks. Believe it or not, my GoPro is overheated. It's scorching to touch. So, change cameras. It's hot. Right, we're back in the room. Right, where were we? Oh, yeah.
Are you going to want me to remember what I was talking about?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, we'll just do it'll be a hard cut in that one. You know why we've done the hard cut, folks. So I think the last question we started was with John, official Mr. Fish. He said, you've been through tough times after the crash. Did you ever doubt you'd get back on two wheels? Excuse me, pardon.
Yeah, so I think I was saying that you things happen in life, and facing your fears. I grew up riding horses. I was really lucky to be able to be around horses as a kid, and I always remember you'd fall off, you get back on. You don't fear it. You fall off the horse, you get back on the horse, and you keep going. And I think I take that approach with other things in life. And while I didn't have motorbikes at the time of the accident, I was never not going to get back cycling even. Cycling, and the motorbikes were natural. However, I have to say, I was a horrific passenger for about 3 years. I would scream randomly whenever a car came from the right side, which was instant back to the accident. And my poor husband would have jumps out of his skin as we're driving along, because I would just freak out in the car.
Phantom braking.
I was better. Oh gosh, yeah. I was
exactly
braking all the time.
Yep.
But what was interesting is that I was better when I was in control. So if I was driving, then I was more comfortable because I had control of the vehicle and what was going on. But I also actively avoided situations where I was going to be out of my control. So I didn't go in taxis if I didn't have to. Wouldn't voluntarily go in someone else's car unless I trusted them. But what I didn't realize, I didn't know that at the time. It was only through talking and having therapy, which mental health awareness, it's okay to be not okay. And I can't emphasize that enough. I had help helping me through the accident and getting over it, and it does help. But it's painful. It's hard to talk about things that are uncomfortable and hurt, but it can really be beneficial. Anyway, hashtag mental health. I think it's really, really important.
No, absolutely, 100%.
And so it wasn't until that process that I was able to reflect and realize how actively I was avoiding situations because I didn't feel comfortable in them. And I mean, the moment I could get back cycling, I got back on that bike. I'm not going to lie. I didn't put it off because I was scared. I wanted to cycle again. I wanted to feel the burn in my legs, the the saving of petrol, the not sitting in traffic, the getting to work, having done your gym workout without even having done anything in your day. I wanted all of that.
Yeah.
But man, I had tears on so many of my rides where a car, I mean, as a bikeless, what is my language?
What are you drinking?
Yeah, I'm on a cider now. It's obviously a strong one, hey? As a cyclist, unfortunately, society does treat you like the not allowed person on the road, or you're somehow inferior because you don't pay your road tax, which actually is emissions tax, right? And so you do get pushed against the curb and treated like you're not meant to be there. And every time I go out on a bike, generally there will normally be some kind of encounter that will give me a flashback to the accident.
Yeah.
But I've just got stronger at dealing with that. Like, it's okay to have those moments. And it's okay if you need to pull over and have a little moment to process it and carry on going. And I actually think having the Cardo intercoms back when we first started riding was a really helpful part in my journey on the bike. So for anybody out there who is a little bit nervous about being on the road, intercoms with someone you trust is a very good way to make you feel not alone on the road.
Okay.
You've got the safety factor of 4 eyes. You know, you can talk and communicate, you can warn each other. You know, do you see that buggy up there? Have you seen the dog? Car coming on the right. You can be each other's eyes, and you can also be there chatting. You know, I've had moments where someone's pulled out on me and I just wanted the earth to eat me up and take me off the bike. What on earth am I doing on a motorbike? Like, I nearly died. I still hurt from that accident, and I'm out here on a motorbike. But, you know, Rocky Monster's in the helmet being like, don't worry, deep breaths, we can pull over if you want to, you're okay. You're okay. And that's was really helpful, I think.
Yeah.
I love how far away I get from the question. I don't even know what the question was again.
do you know, genuinely, that's what I love about this sort of media, that like podcasts, it's conversation, isn't it? And I love, like, I'm a big Joe Rogan fanboy, and they call it, you know, going down the rabbit hole or the rabbit warren, and I love that, because that's just what a conversation is, isn't it? You start off in one direction, see where it takes you. And I love that this gives you the opportunity. You spend 3 hours talking utter shit, but it's shit that a lot of people probably do think about, and they do contemplate. And, you know, the feedback you get off of people is like, oh God, I'm glad you brought that up, and I do that, I do this. So don't worry about it. We just chat. No, it's interesting now. I know what you're saying about the whole mental health awareness as well, is that I'll put my hand up. I used to think, when you heard about depression, when you heard about all that, I used to think, that's for the weak. It's for the weak in mind. It's not me. I'm strong. I can deal with this. But I really, and again, I've never hidden it, I really struggled when I came back from a world trip. Really struggled, and I didn't cope with it for about a year and a half, 2 years probably, where I was just lost, and I got in a bad place, and it was only finding like the Overland event, the Hub event, all these different little events where you get collectively people who've been in that scene, people who've been away and done these amazing trips, and they're all together, and you all sit down and you all start talking. Like, talking is the key, isn't it? It's sharing the experiences, and for me anyway, realizing that, oh, I'm not the only one. Other people are going through this, and okay, how have you dealt with that? How have you dealt with this? Do you ever feel like this? And it's totally true, isn't it? Talk. Just, if you're feeling that way, talk to someone. Drop me a line. Drop Vanessa a line. Just, hope you don't mind me saying that, but just drop someone a line. Just, I lost a good mate quite recently, and it was through mental health. And you just think, if you just reached out, just reach out, and you never know what might happen, eh? It's just, I never got that bad, but it's horrible to think people get to that stage where they think, that's my only answer, it's my only way out here. So yeah, you're not alone, folks.
I think sometimes, reach out, and the person that you reach out to isn't necessarily the person that you might think it should be. The closest person in your life might not be the person that you feel like you can open up to. I'm very lucky that with my husband I can talk to him about absolutely anything. Yeah. Poor guy. But I can.
Well, I'm the same with my wife. She's a special person. Yeah, you can open up to them?
But actually, in some of the moments in my journey from the accident, the person that I've spoken to at various points has almost surprised me sometimes. That sometimes it's someone that you would least expect, and it could just be the lovely chat with a stranger on social media that brightens up your day.
Absolutely.
And yeah, my inbox is always there. So anybody, always here.
I'm sure you're probably the same as me, but it's the feedback you get from strangers, really, effectively. You know, people that follow you on social media. Some people reach out to you, don't they? And they tell you what they're going through and how your story or your video, how it's impacted on them and how it's helped in certain ways. And you just think, okay, hell, that was never in my mind when I created that and I published it. But to know that you're having such a positive effect on people is very humbling, isn't it? But it really does make you think, oh man, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this because it's having an effect. Definitely. Yeah, it's something of this. Yeah. It's an aspect of this whole social media life that like we now share with everybody. It's not something I ever contemplated before. It's something that's just sort of hit me after, well, what's happened, and it's I like it. I like to know that you can give something back. Sounds corny, but it's true.
Yeah, I think for you as well, Bev, with your background, but with my background with the accident, it's amazing to think that I can do something or turn something so negative into something so positive.
Yeah.
And if I can help other people with the battles that they're facing through the learnings and what I've gone through, that makes everything I've gone through so worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm helping other people.
Yeah.
And I get so much energy from that. I love it when people message me and share their stories and chat. And
yeah, me too.
It's great.
Me too.
It's a really nice environment. I feel very lucky.
Yeah. It's weird because this, like, I probably won't actually, because my community's very like-minded, same as me. We tend to, you say it how you see it, and there's never offence caused. You know, if you mean offence, you'll say it to somebody's face. So the term pink and fluffy is not meant like in any derogatory manner. But I never used to be pink and fluffy. Do you know what I mean? For me, it was just like, I kept my feelings to myself. You just crack on and you get on with it. But I've definitely found the older I've got and the more you go through, I don't know. I've become a hippie. It's like I'm definitely someone that's much more open to like alternative thinking, alternative ways, much more in touch with their emotions than I never used to be like that. It was just get on with it, crack on, buck up and get on with it. That was what I used to be like. But you know, you were saying about talking with complete random strangers. It's funny, my old job in the old Bill, I used to be in diplomatic protection, so we used to do like number 10, Houses of Parliament, all the embassies, consulates, all that sort of stuff around London. And it's generally stag duty, so you're on a fixed post with one other police officer. We had guns, and you'd just be stood there for anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours occasionally. So you talk about everything and anything. And sometimes it can be from somebody from a different base and a different team, so you might never have met these people before, and you'd be amazed at how open two roughy-tufty gun coppers can be, just stood there talking about everything and anything you can think of. And it was weird. It's like you find yourself talking about everything we've chatted about. You'll find yourself chatting about, and you know, never in a million years would you consider talking about a lot of these things with your mates or your family, but just because it's random punter there with you, you'll chat away with them. Yeah. So you got your own counselling on post, getting paid for it with a gun. Right, let's get back on track with questions. Jacques Dino Wood, I think that's how you say it. Yeah, Jack Dino Wood. My better half comments that the biking scene from the outside seems, my pronunciation, misogynistic. It's not something I've ever experienced, but I think it would be good to hear a first-hand opinion. I'd like to buy her a woman-only training day to introduce her to two wheels in the hope that it's a more comfortable environment. But is that misogynistic? All help advice would be appreciated. So, is the biking community misogynistic? Do you think it's like anti-women, derogatory towards women? I'm assuming that's what misogynistic means.
Yeah, I'm taking the same interpretation.
I think it is, yeah.
I think the reality is, and I'm someone that comes from a background of different extreme sports, is that a lot of these more extreme, out there kind of things tend to be more male dominated. Then I don't know whether it comes down to, something in our male female genes. There just tends to be more guys doing them.
Yep.
I don't think being male dominated necessarily means that it's anti-women. I think for some women that just makes it feel more intimidated.
Yeah.
Because they might be the only woman racing at Valles Extreme, which I was. Yep. But I think that there are some incredibly supportive guys out there. You'll always get the odd absolute D-head, to not swear, who wants to do a wheelie past you, rooster shit in your face. I like how I can say the S word but not the D word. And just, they'll see a ponytail and they'll have to overtake you, even if it means they fall off at the next corner because they can't actually keep the pace up, or there's always those egos. But you get that in every single walk of life. I think my best advice for a boyfriend partner trying to get a girl into motorcycling is to remove the laddiness from it and have some dedicated time with them. A training day is definitely a really nice idea if they're game with it, because they're going to be in a very controlled, safe environment with someone who can teach them all the basics and make sure that they're comfortable. Trials riding, I think, is a really good place to start, because it is so fundamental on the skill levels that you can then progress and get on any bike. And if you look at any of the top hard enduro riders, for example, nearly every single one of them started as trials, because it's the balance, it's the clutch control, it's the slow handling, and that is the foundation for everything else. When you get all of those right, the speed and everything else tends to come, from my experience. And so I think that is a very friendly way to get girls riding. And I also find that the trials riding scene is unbelievably friendly, supportive, welcoming. Motocross can be a little bit more elbowy, if that's the right term. And I think trials is just quite a nice, safe environment. But I think the key is that if they're wanting to take it slow and go easy, give the time into it. So the way I kind of look at it is, if this is someone that you want to spend your life with, having a slow, snowboarding and skiing is a really good parallel. Okay, so say you want to get your partner into skiing, you want to go on a skiing holiday and disappear off and do all the blacks and the reds and all of this kind of stuff, and leave the girlfriend or the boyfriend back at the bottom of the slopes doing the baby stuff. But actually, what you probably want to do is dedicate that holiday to getting them enjoying it and doing it, and coach them and teach them. And then the next holiday, and the next holiday after that, it's like short term for long term.
Invest some time,
Invest some time, exactly. Invest some time and help them into it. Make it fun for them. If you put them way outside of their comfort zone, okay, if you do that to me, I'll love it. But a lot of people don't. And if you throw them outside of the comfort zone, it can be really terrifying.
There's something that I've been asked this question before. Well, not me personally. I had Kate Ralph on, username Kate. She's on Instagram as well. Kate came on, and really good, really entertaining chat. And obviously she had a lot of questions about women's points of view on various things. And we discussed something similar to this. Women only, like Kate's track focused. She loves riding the track. Women only track days. And I said, and she actually also agreed, women only track days sort of annoy me, because I think to myself, I I've done a few track days, but I'm shitting it when I turn up. I'm nervous. I'm nervous when I turn up because there's people, there's people spanking the arse off of me, no problem, on the track. And I feel intimidated, but you just get on with it. You know what I mean? It's just like, crack on and get on. So when I see the women-only track days, I'm like, hang on a minute, surely it should just be a novice, a genuine, proper introductory day. That's what you should have for people who are never done it before. They want to have a little taster for it, and if you've got any experience of it before, you don't qualify. Just
Yeah.
is that not a better way of getting people into the sport? Just saying it's a novice day. This is an introductory day. In you come, and anything goes. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's shitting it because whether you're male or female, you're going to be the same. People are just going to be pooing themselves.
Pooing themselves.
Do you know? I mean, it's like even.
Well,
So go on.
I have to say I'm not into women's only things. I don't feel like it's a comfortable environment. I like the company of males. I enjoy the growth that you get from being around people that are considerably better than you. And at a women's track day, you're still going to get really awesome riders because there are some incredible female riders. But I love going out. Like if we take hard enduro, going out with a group of guys who are absolutely nails and make it look like I can barely even ride. But that pushes me.
Yeah.
They can see where you are. They know where they can push you, where they can't. They can throw tips in and help you out. The best way to progress is to ride with people better than you. If you ride with people the same or lower, there's no elevation. And I personally am not a fan of women-only things. I think if we suddenly started saying it's a men-only thing, people would start going, well why can't the women go? That's not fair.
The double standards is, I think, what gets people.
Yeah, you've got to go by the level. And if you're novices, let's get some novices together. I totally agree with you there.
Yeah, it's like the whole race thing and the sex thing. Take that out of it. Just take that out of it and just put it on ability and what type of person. Novice, advanced, buff. Everyone's happy then, aren't they? And then you're not creating a divide.
Yeah.
So just crack on. Yeah.
You just might need to do like an ego test to get rid of some of the idiot guys.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But
I mean,
the ego guys are as obnoxious to the beginner males as they are to the beginner females, really. Although I do feel like the ponytail sticking out of your helmet to some guys is like the carrot to the donkey as far as almost taking you out to get past you.
Yeah.
And I've experienced, I've been full on like battered into a bush before, like full on crash where I was like, oh my God, am I actually okay? Just because that guy couldn't tolerate the fact that there was a girl out there. And anyway.
Yeah,
anyway,
no, I'd 100%.
You get that in everything.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, competitive nature in some people is just ridiculous, isn't it? And yeah. Right.
I actually have a fun story from my cycling days. So back when I used to do the mountain biking, I used to go to Afan in South Wales quite a lot, where it's downhill mountain biking. And back then I was doing 85 miles a week cycling as standard, just doing my commute. So I was really, really fit. And Afan is quite a long single track ascent. And I always remember I've got a pink mountain bike. When we were trying to find me a mountain bike, my one condition was it can't be pink.
Right.
But back then when we got it, which was probably 9 years ago, there weren't so many, small, lightweight female frames. So I got what we found secondhand on eBay. Anyway, so I'd be there, pedaling away, going up this single track, and people, guys would look over their shoulder and see a girl on a pink mountain bike in like mountain boots, not proper cycling kit, and would they let me pass? And they would actually get themselves to the point, this happened at least, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 times in my memory, where they'd get themselves to the point that they were going to have a heart attack just to not let the girl go past. And I just think, in modern times, girls are allowed to be out here rocking it and being fit as well,
Like a bit.
Oh my goodness, look, you've got a beer delivery.
See, I told you my wife's a special woman, thank you. Yeah, she's brought me another beer. Although in the same sentence, she did say, "Oh my God, you're a sweaty pig." So, No, I get that. I understand what you're saying there, but then I've I've experienced that on the track when just other people, and I'm assuming they're blokes, but other people have just get this, the bit between their teeth, I've got to overtake you. And then I've had it when I'm on I'll take my GS to the track occasionally. And people do not want to be overtaken by a GS. So it's like in the corners where the GS can battle with like other novice riders, then people won't give up. They won't let you by because it's like, that's a GS. You're not coming by, and you're like, oh, come on. Now obviously in the straights they go, but
it was actually in the Alps on the Harley. It was brilliant riding. So I mean, my street bob, people think you can't put a Harley over. Freaking go on YouTube and watch some Harley riders. You can throw Harleys around corners.
Oh god, yeah.
And they have some serious torque pulling out of those corners.
Yeah.
Like the power, and I've done like stage 1, 2 upgrades, so cam push rod lifters, all done it myself on the Harley. So I reckon she's about 115 brake horsepower now.
Blimey.
She's powerful, and out of those corners when you've got these guys in their full leathers and their sport bikes, it's brilliant. Like chuckles all the way.
I was saying, but before I'd ever ridden a GS, my first proper experience of a GS that made me go, oh hello, was I was out early morning during the summer. I was out on my Gixxer Thow, and I was going through a wee village, so I was toddling along at sort of 30, 35 mile an hour, and this GS pulled up alongside me, and the geezer had the adventure style, what was like a motocross lid actually, with goggles, but he was wearing, you could see he had body armour on and a Dennis the Menace red and black jumper over the top, jeans, what looked like rigger boots, the offshore work boots, and what looked like gardening gloves. I just looked and I thought, it's not the standard GS sort of GS one-piece suit that they all wear. I thought, oh, that's interesting. And he just looked at me like that, nodded, and as we approached the sort of end of the village, he just popped the GS up on the back wheel and sat and stared at me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be fun. And as soon as we hit the Nationals, we went for it, and I battled with him. Obviously the straights, I had him, but every set of twisties, he's right up there behind me and he's wheeling it all the time. We ended up coming up to some traffic lights and he endoed it to the traffic lights. I was just like, wow, that's pretty damn cool, that. And that did change. That changed my viewpoint of GSs. So if you're that bloke, I'm assuming you're a bloke, maybe you're a lady. If you're that person, thank you, because you've put me down this path. Right, let's get back on to questions. Nicking Knutsford. My question, Pink Floyd or Bob Dylan? Or neither?
Meh.
What you into then?
Not really too bothered.
What music you into?
Country is my big one. I went
Seriously?
to university in North Carolina for part of my undergraduate, and
Oh, wow.
fell in love with country.
Yeah, love it. I don't know much about
country.
it, but I just love the songs. What?
Wait. Okay, you've got to go on YouTube and search for Ryan Johnson, Same Boat. I'm going to speak to the camera. Ryan Johnson, Same Boat.
Ryan Johnson.
I'm in his music video.
Are you?
Yes, he
God, how'd that
sent me the
happen?
link like yesterday. So, okay, it's lockdown. He's this quite new, upcoming country music star in America who I totally got a man crush on. Ryan, if you're watching this, you know it. It's fine. I've got a crush. Your voice just does it for me. I love it. You've got amazing songs.
I
amazing
love you,
lyrics.
Rocky
He's got
Monster.
Harley in
You're
one of
my
his
crush.
videos. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Rocky Monster. You can probably hear me as well. But anyway, he's got this new song, Same Boat, that he released during lockdown and wanted to do a video. And the lyrics of the song are all about the fact that, generally in life, we're in the same boat. It's quite a beautiful song, actually. And so he put a post out saying, right, I want to make a music video and I want to see what everybody's up to. #tag me in your videos, and I'm going to make a music video using everyone's stuff. So yeah, I'm like hashtag. And yeah, you've got to watch it and count how many times I'm in it. I'm not going to give it away. But
Right, will
yeah,
do.
he's got me doing all kinds of things, changing tyres, slacklining, putting a tent up with a Harley, all kinds of stuff. All
Brilliant.
lockdown fun.
I'll have a look at that. Nice one. Yeah, I do. I've got a thing for country. I just love the sound of the music. And when I was in the States, I really had an affinity with the South. I loved the South. I'd never done the South before. I'd always done like, you know, your New Yorks, and we got friends up in Boston and Florida, and I'd always done that. But on my trip, I ended up in the South and spent a lot of time there. I loved it. Loved Texas. I loved South Carolina, North Carolina, all around there. And the roads all up around North Carolina and Tennessee. Fantastic. Tail of the
Blue
Dragon.
Ridge Parkway.
Oh, man.
Smoky Mountains.
Stunning. What did you do at
Yeah,
uni
one
then?
day I'll go back. So my undergrad was international business studies. I did my second year, half of it in North Carolina at WCU. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I did my third year working in marketing and PR in the Bahamas, because someone's got to do it. And then I came back to the UK and did my master's in public relations. So
Jesus.
a bit all over the place. Yeah, and it was actually in the Bahamas that I got my very first motorbike.
Was it?
Yeah. That's
Baha-
actually a story if you wanted to hear it.
Yeah, let's go there. Let's hear it.
So I'm a student working in the Bahamas, and I'm, you know, like an intern. So money isn't exactly flush, but I needed a way to get around this remote island, Eleuthera in the Bahamas, and it's 130 miles long and like a mile wide. But I needed a way to get to the beaches and go spearfishing. And so I couldn't afford a car. I was like, well, maybe I'll get a motorbike. There wasn't a motorbike on the island, so that was hurdle number one. But I thought, you know, I can buy a motorbike. Never ridden a motorbike, but that wasn't a problem because other people ride bikes, right? It can't be that hard. So I went online, did some research, and I ended up buying a Lifan 250 Enduro, which is basically like a 250 wannabe Honda Chinese thing. Okay. And I ordered it in from China. It came in. I had to pay 90% tax on it and get it registered, bring it in. But this is the thing. It arrived in a box.
When you had to make it.
I was not mechanical back then. Like now,
wow.
I'd be fine. But back then, I was just like, I've got a bike in a box. What am I meant to do with a bike in a box? Thankfully, a bottle of rum, that's all it took, and the local bush mechanic had it all set up, told me, you know, where the on was and what the twisty thing did, and before I knew it, I have no memories of learning to ride a motorbike. I just got on it, and I rode about, went down the sand tracks, went to the beaches. My spear for spearfishing, like, strapped down the side of the bike, and then my fins and snorkel on the back. And I buzzed around the island and became known as, like, the girl on a bike on the island, because it was the only bike.
Is that where the name comes from?
No, that's just a coincidence that I've only acknowledged right then, actually.
Is there a more interesting story behind the name, or because if not, that's a great story for where the name comes from.
I think we're going to make that the name. No, it was more that the girl on the bike started. I was bedbound after hip surgery. I think it was around the time when I decided I wanted a bike. It was short. It might have been the surgery before that. And I was bedbound, feeling really shit. You know, I hurt. I just needed something to focus on. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I start an Instagram page and, you know, see if I can connect with other people. And it started off with me just sharing posts about how I used to be. You know, that I used to kite surf and I used to snowboard, and then I ran out of photos. And I was like, oh, well, I can't make any photos because I'm a little bit broken. Maybe I should just start being honest. And so I started posting about, you know, real life, the journey, the up, the downs, and it turns out it resonates with people because no one's lives is perfect.
Nope.
Everybody has battles. And I think, you know, it's almost like a little bit of reality among some of the shiny cells on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's almost reassuring, isn't it? It's almost reassuring to see, like, don't take it the wrong way, but a glamorous person like you when you go through shit times. And it's
glamorous.
Oh, come on, you are. You're a good-looking woman, and it's sort of reassuring to see that, you know, you have down days and you go through bad times and good times, and I think that is where, for me, social media comes to the fore, is to share that sort of stuff. I've said it before with people. Something I was told before I did my world trip was, in regards to filming, this guy said to me, he said, the times when you feel least like switching the camera on and talking to it, he said, that is the time when you need to turn the camera on, because that is what people want to see. That's what people can associate with. They can, is it affiliate? Is it affiliate the right word? Relate. That'll do. That's the word.
Yeah.
That's what people can relate to. They want to see that it's real life. It's not all just, this is awesome, I'm living the dream. They want to see that, you're shitting, you got a bad dose of the diarrhea, or you're vomiting, and they want to see you're going through bad times, because they do, and it makes you human, doesn't it? Yeah. So yeah, it's good on you for sharing the good and the bad, definitely. Right, another question. Gavin Fraser, 39. This is for Vanessa. We've already covered this. Are you planning to do the Dakar Rally in the future? If so, what would you do to prepare for it? Okay, so...
Get really, 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 really fit and do loads of navigation. And get really, really, really fit. Loads of navigation. Maybe move to Saudi Arabia if it was still there, and live out there for 6 months before it to get proper familiar with the terrain.
Yeah.
Get really, really, really fit and do loads of mental training. Try and break yourself in your training so that when you then come to the main race, it doesn't break you quite as much.
Well, ideally... Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Ideally, so obviously you've got two classes, haven't you? You've got there's the main Dakar where you have the support team with you and everything, and you've got the Mali class where it's literally you've got a box that you take with you and you have to do all your own spannering. You live in a tent. Which one would you go for?
The support. I think I've got to be realistic, and I think getting. Well, they say getting to the start line is the hardest part. The amount of things you've got to do to qualify, the amount of money you've got to raise to be able to get yourself into that position, I can kind of see it, and I think I'd want to put myself through the most probable chance of getting to the finish line, and I think I don't need to be stupid about it, particularly with I can absolutely guarantee that if I get to do the Dakar, I will be using a Physiolab icing pack on my hip every single night. I will need a lot of physical support to get my body to keep going, because I'm a reconstructed person,
Yeah, that I've seen that on. Sorry to interrupt. I've seen that on your Instagram posts. You have this machine that effectively ices you. Like, how many times a day are you doing that?
For the first month post-surgery, it's 6 times a day for half an hour. So actually, I'm overdue right now, but I'll put my cold beer on it. No, 6 times a day for half an hour for the first month post-surgery. Wow. But it is game-changing as far as your recovery. So inflammation inside a joint is very detrimental to the healing process and the recovery. And the ice from a bag of peas, for example, will only really do the surface of your skin. Yeah. And the compression of a bag of peas to get it around your whole hip joint, I don't even know how many bags of peas you need. Whereas the compression Physiolab will apply and strap around the limb, the arm, the knee, the ankle, the shoulder, whatever it is you've had the surgery or the injury on. It's not necessarily just for surgery, the injury. It will compress and put an even pressure around that area and then pump the ice water around it. And the cooling goes right into the joint. So it's a much more intensive cooling, and there's no risk of burns. Yeah, so ice burns, which you can get from peas. So it's an incredible recovery device. Something I've used for the last 3 of my surgery. I've had it, and I know that after my full hip reconstruction, I was doing my physio, I was making progress, and every time I just tried to push that little bit further, this was months after my surgery, I just would take 1 step forwards, 5 steps back. 1 step forwards, 5 steps back. And I had the physio for a month, and it smashed the chronic inflammation in my hip, and I got back on the bike. Wow. And I completely put that down to having the Physiolab.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's actually called Physiolab, is it?
Physiolab, yeah.
Okay, I'll pop a link in the description as before, folks. So check that out if it's something you're looking at. And so what? It's like I assume it's like a Velcro band or something that will go round whatever the affected area is.
Yeah, there's different kind of straps that are body shaped. And, you strap it on, and then you fill a little container with ice and water, and it pumps that round. So my poor freezer at the moment is on turbo because I'm using I'd probably say 5 litres of ice a day,
Gee
maybe
whiz.
6. Lots of
Blimey.
Tupperware tubs filled up that I just smashed.
Yeah, I bet. Blimey. But if it's doing the job, fantastic. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Right, another question. Are you okay for time? Because we've been going
Yeah.
for a wee while. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're coming. Well, actually, I said I think we're coming to the end of the Instagram ones. We're not. There's shed loads. Wow, I didn't realise there was that many.
Okay, I can try and be less blah 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 with my
Oh,
answers.
don't worry about it. That's, we just chat. Just can always come back on if you enjoy it. We can always come back on and we'll do more questions another time. Eamon Fleming. Question for Vanessa. Do you think you can teach Bruce how to ride in the dirt? He claims he doesn't like it. Vanessa was actually there
Right.
when I did the off-roading. Well, you went off in another group, didn't you? Because I was shit.
Wait, was that ride in the dark or
Riding
convert to the
dirt.
dark?
No, off-roading, basically.
Oh, yeah, okay. What do you call that? Riding dark?
Riding in the dirt. Sorry.
Oh, it's your accent.
It's just the way I speak. Sorry.
Yeah. Can you say how the
Scottishist.
noise the cow makes again?
Some of my
I
mates
love
at
how
work.
much that tickles me.
Some of my mates at work used to get me to say there's an expression that, because being Scottish we roll our R's. You roll the R's when you speak, and they used to get me to say I can't say it, so I have to say it really slowly. Purple, burglar, alarm. But if you were English, you'd go purple burglar alarm. But if you say it with me, when I roll my R's, if I say it, my tongue basically just ties itself in knots, and so they used to get me to say that. Or when I worked at Peckham Police Station, I used to get called into custody sometimes, and they'd be like, Bruce, cell 6 or like cell 2, whatever it is. What are they in for? You'd look, and they'd be in for murder. And I'd have to go, murder, Sarge, and they'd be like, excellent, off you go. So it's like, cheers, thanks very much. Murder, there's been a murder.
Oh.
Yeah, so Eamon, I think I'm way beyond any help from Vanessa.
No, I'm up for the challenge. Let's do it.
Shush, don't say that. It'll put back your Dakar what? What's the word? It'll put back your progress towards the Dakar about 8 years, so don't worry about it.
It will be worth it to get you off-roading.
I do have to do it. I've got to do more
Let's
of it.
do
for sure.
it. Let's do
Well,
it.
I'll be heading back down to see Lyndon anyway at Toro, so if you're back down that way, we'll do it.
Sounds
right.
good.
Gavin Fraser, 39. This is for you, Bruce. I was looking at your starting videos for the Round the World trip. Have you ever thought of doing a new Round the World DVD? Actually, there's a few people have asked me.
DVD?
Yeah, I know. Who's got a DVD these days? There's a few people have actually asked, because with the book as well, the book's sold out. So a lot of people have asked about the book, but it all comes down to economics, to be honest with you. The cost of doing another print run, I can't see how I'd ever sell enough books to offset. Sorry, yeah, go on.
You don't need to do a print run with books anymore.
Well, I know.
If you do it via Amazon, self-publish,
Yeah,
they'll print it as people order.
I looked at that.
Sorry, have I ruined it? You've got no excuse now. Here we go, everyone. I've ruined his excuse. Get the book out.
I've looked at Amazon. I've looked at the Amazon self-publish, and the cost of one book to print. That's my copy of my book right there, right? So to do a similar copy of this, so it's black and white text, and then at the end there's like 20 or 30 pages of pictures. So to do that on Amazon would cost me, I think it was around $54 a book.
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't
Cost.
sound okay.
Cost me. That's how
Okay,
much it would cost
I
me.
retract the whole statement.
Yeah. So in
Yeah,
order
so
to, I would
It's
end
probably
up
about
having to charge.
£2,000 book.
Well, it's ridiculous. I'd end up having to charge like $55 a book to make
Yeah.
like $2, and it's just not worth it. So to do a print run,
No.
my print run, I think for 500 books or 750 books cost me like $2,500-3,000 to do. So you've got to recoup that initial investment, haven't you? And I just don't think I would sell that amount of books. DVD wise, we're coming up for the 10-year anniversary in 2022. So October 2022 will be the 10-year anniversary of when it
that big?
started.
Is that how long the beard's been growing for?
Well, no, I think it's probably about 6 or 7 years now this has been growing. I started growing this on my trip, but I shaved it a few times, and then I have trimmed it quite a few times up until about 2016 probably was the last time I gave it a proper trim. So this is still
Wow.
like 4 years, but I think this is as long as it'll get now. But yeah, I am thinking about maybe doing a 10-year anniversary re-edit, either from the start of the trip or to celebrate the end of the trip. So it would either be 22 or 24 because I finished 2014. But yeah, I am thinking about it for some sort of
I like the
re-edited
idea.
series. Just we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. And Gavin's got another question for you. For Vanessa, would you ever think of a round the world adventure, and what bike would you use?
Gosh.
You sound like you've done a lot of travelling anyway, but have you done much travelling on the bike?
I don't really know how to answer this actually. So I'd love to, but I don't think I'd get bored. But the sort of terrain that I ultimately really want to be hitting, I'm so addicted to hard enduro, you couldn't go around the world because, a little two-stroke engine, you'd be on the side of the road doing rebuilds every 35 hours. I mean, it would be ridiculous. I think I would love to do some big trips. So like when I was in Bolivia with Mego Adventures, we did 2.5 weeks and we explored Bolivia and did some incredible riding and absolutely loved it. I loved every second of it and I didn't want to get off the bike. But I like to be able to then just jump on a plane and, I don't know, go to Iceland or go to Ukraine or come home and be in my own house and be in the garage and see my family and then disappear off again and kind of have the best of both worlds. Like I'd love to do some mega trips and I've done some like awesome road trips. So like last summer with Tour 1, rode from here down to Croatia, ferry over to Italy, back round 3,500 miles, and it was incredible. That was on Harley. But I don't know. I don't think I could see me doing it because I like the variety. I like mixing it up a bit, I suppose, and I also like, I like seeing my family and friends and home as well.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a dull answer, really.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I think to do a round the world trip in what most people assume is a round the world trip, where you start and then you come back to the same starting point X amount of time later, having travelled the world. To do something like that, you have to be a certain type of person anyway who doesn't mind being away from loved ones for that length of time. It is a bit selfish because you are away from your loved ones for that. Even if you haven't got a boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, whatever, you've still got family generally, or you've got friends. There's people there who value you, and you're still away, and they're going to worry about you. So it is. I think it is inherently a bit of a selfish thing to do, but not in a bad way. I think no one will ever think bad of you for doing something like that. But you have to want to do it. You've got to. It's like for you off-roading. It's like riding off-road and enduro. It's the very pulse in your veins, isn't it? It's what you must do. And for me, for the world trip, it's what I had to do. It was just everything in life was focused on that, and I was doing it no matter what. I was doing that trip. So
Yeah.
Now I get asked a lot, would you do another one? And I don't know. I would like to be on the road again, but I think I'm more along your mindset now in that I'd like to go and do a bit of that, do that, and then come back and have a bit of time at home doing a few things and go away and doing another bit. I don't know if I would do the whole head off and come back 2 years, 5 years, 10 years later thing. I don't know. No, things might change in life.
I feel like
won't.
it's.
So I lost you there. You're frozen.
Yeah, I think you're frozen
Oh,
in a
you're
really
back.
funny face right now. You're like. Frozen,
Yeah, you've
we
come back now. Yeah, you're back to me now.
Yeah, there you're back. You had a good frozen face, by the way.
Good,
I
thanks.
think it probably comes down to like all or nothing. And with life today, there are so many motorcycle rental companies and things that there weren't 10 years ago or
Yeah.
further back that actually don't have to do all or nothing anymore. You can, have a normal life with a job and save up and go on an adventure, come back, go on another adventure and dabble and kind of make the most of all of it, but not having to just travel on a motorbike, which
Yeah.
I think that's kind of my approach at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Ah, okay. Studali. There's one for you. For Vanessa, what have you not yet achieved on a motorbike that you'd love to?
Oh my goodness, everything. I'm a beginner. Everything. I've never done a track day. I was meant to have one. I know. Everyone says that face. I was meant to have one with Ducati and one. I think I was good. It was at Silverstone. It was a birthday present. I was actually a birthday present 5 years ago, but I've not been in a physical state to risk it until, Enduro took over, okay. So yeah, I want to do a track day. That's a big one. And I want to do Romaniacs. That's a big one. I'm also set to do Hellas in October now. It's been delayed. It was meant to be in May, but COVID's obviously set its toll. And I'm meant to be doing Hellas with Torque Racing. What have I not achieved on a motorbike? I want to get to the point where I'm way more at one with that motorbike. So when I ride with people, like the good riders, I know someone like Alid that I've ridden with at Werndu a whole load of times.
That's the Triumph guy in Wales, isn't it? Is that right? Is he Triumph in Wales?
No, he's done the silver class at Romaniacs.
Ah, right.
He's not got a massive social media account or anything, but he should, because his riding is just incredible. And riding with him, I've learnt so much. But you just watch him and you're like totally in awe. How are you doing that on a motorbike? Or even when you watch someone like Graham Jarvis. But I think Graham Jarvis is that next level, or Tony Bow. It's that next level where you look at it and go, that's not even realistic. Like, I can dream.
Were you watching Graham Jarvis's Instagram during lockdown when he was just systematically destroying his garden?
And then he moved into the kitchen. Maniac. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Brilliant.
Absolutely mad. Did you see any of Tony Bow's stuff? He's
No.
I think he's 26 times world trials champion. He is someone to look up, but he did some insane trials riding in his like penthouse level apartment in Andorra. He's someone that I've met and ridden with in Andorra actually. And he's on this trials bike. He gets out of bed and gets on the trials bike, and then he pretty much does his day on the bike.
Wow.
Like, he goes down his staircase, he balances on the bathroom sink and cleans his teeth. I mean, it's the sort of next level riding that there's people that you look to for inspiration because it's like absolutely mind blowing, but it's not achievable inspiration, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Wow. Who is he called? What's his name?
Tony Bow is the guy, the world champion in trials. He's well worth looking up. I mean, he's got millions of followers, and you'll lose yourself watching him.
Cool.
Mental.
Right, next question. Rabi7302. For both of us, your top, I like these ones, your top 5 dinner guests and why? They get you thinking, don't they?
Gosh.
Let's go top 3, because 5's quite a few to think of. Top 3.
Okay, Rocky
then I guess.
Monster. Rocky Monster's always got to be there.
Yeah.
He's my soulmate. I love him, and I do. He's my partner in adventure, so he's going to be there. Okay, you do one. Let's alternate, and it gives thinking
My
time.
wife. She's my partner in adventure. She's my soulmate. I've got to say that now. She'd batter me if I didn't say her after you've said that.
I've stitched you up. I'm
You
sorry.
have. Obviously, it would be my wife. Obviously. What's your number 2?
Number 2. Oh, why is it such a hard question?
Mine's slightly unfair because we've been asked this on another podcast, and I stand by one of the ones I remember, and that's Muhammad Ali. I would love to have Muhammad Ali on to have a chat with him. So that'll be my number 2. Now I've got to think of a number 3. You've got a number 2 to go.
Can I ask my husband?
Of course you can.
Who
Phone a
do you
friend.
have to dinner? Call a friend. I can see him in the house. That's a really mean way of calling him into this. Okay, who would I have? I don't know, this is awful. Okay, what's
thing
things
is-
that I'm like...
You guarantee as soon as this finishes, 2 people will pop into your head. Guarantee it.
It's true. Trying to think of funny people. I can't think of anyone right now. My mind has just gone like...
I just thought of
Okay.
another one, and it's a bit like the question earlier on. I've got no idea where this came from. I do follow him,
Okay.
but I just thought The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, because I think this comes from Joe Rogan. I think The Rock should be running for president. If Trump can get in, then The Rock can get in, and The Rock is a far
I
nicer
don't-
person.
We can have Rock versus Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, Arnie doesn't qualify, does he? Because he was born in Austria, so he doesn't qualify. Because I reckon he would have got it years ago, but you can't because he's not a US born and bred.
Yeah. Arnie was someone that came to mind, but I just feel like we talk about the Terminator all night. But that'd be fine as long as he came to dinner with no top on. I'd be all right with that.
Definitely Arnie. Yeah. Legend of football.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with Arnie for my number 2,
Yep.
but with the condition that he's got no top on.
We're not pieces of meat, Vanessa. God.
You're more than just a pretty face. You're a hot body too.
Oh, thanks very much.
I feel like I need a female now to balance it out.
No, you don't. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I do. I want a hot female who's going to come in a
Yeah,
bikini.
okay. Oh, God, yeah. Can I come?
Well, you can be in that man with 4 if you like.
Right, you're on.
Oh gosh, I can't even think of women now. Oh, I know. I've just got to think of her name.
If she's on Instagram, I might know her.
Did we like fast forward this bit of video and put like a little sand, one of those sand timers of like.
Depends.
it
I've only got
actually
about
took
6 hours of
Vanessa-
SD card.
This is the hardest question of all of the deep questions. This is the hardest question.
I know.
Because whoever you invite, you're going to be stuck with for about 3 or 4 hours. Like, it could be awful.
Yeah, you don't want to appear like a right dick, do you? By picking somebody that people are like, what? Why do you want them there?
Yeah.
Right, we'll do a countdown clock. Dun, 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 boom.
Didn't work.
Oh, wow.
Try it again. It's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to call a friend.
Right, do it.
I can't see him though.
Do you want us to come back to it?
He might hear me. We'll see.
Right.
I think he might be upstairs, which means he won't hear it. Okay, come on, Vanessa.
Okay, let's do dinner guest. I'll make a little note of
Oh.
it. Dinner guest. Right, we'll try and remember that and we'll come back to it.
Wait, I feel like I can see. No, oh, there you go. Ah, he went out to the bins. He's just come back into the house with the bins. Wait, can I see him? Oh yeah, he heard me. Okay, he's gonna hate me for this. So we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, and
Yeah.
then we've got to pick someone. Okay, I'm gonna have to give him a headphone, or he won't be able to hear you.
Who was your first one
Okay.
again? Arnie?
Oh. Okay, Rocky Monster's here. Okay, we're gonna share my seat with me. We're playing
doing?
Phone a Friend.
Oh,
You
wow,
alright?
Okay. Hey, Teapot.
Hi, how are you?
we're
You
playing-
alright?
Oh, he can't hear you. Take
All
this
right.
one, and then that will go in your left ear.
How you doing, Alex?
Okay,
You alright,
playing
pal?
Phone a Friend.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Right. Go on in.
Okay, so I've got to answer. This is the hardest question of all of them. I've got 3 people to invite for dinner. And who would they be? At the moment, I've got Arnold Schwarzenegger, but only if he's topless.
So random.
Who would we want for dinner? Oh, Alex, he's number 1.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, you were
yeah.
number one.
I'm cooking.
You are actually number one. Yeah.
He was number 1. So you're number 1, and then we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger topless. Okay, you're going to be topless too.
Okay.
And then I think we need a girl to balance it out.
Absolutely.
This is the hardest
Now he's paying
question of all of
attention.
them.
Look, all of a sudden, Alex eyes are open. Oh, right. Okay.
Who would make good topic?
I'm trying to think of someone who makes really good conversation.
Yeah.
Who's likely to entertain us over dinner?
I know. What
Go
about
on.
Meg's Brap?
Oh, yeah.
She'd be pretty entertaining. She'd give
Yeah.
Arnie a run for his money.
Meg's Brap versus Arnie in an arm wrestle.
Bosh. Done.
Okay.
Ch-
that
challenge on, yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Cheers.
This is Rocky Monster, by the way. You guys have obviously met, but it's everybody else.
We
This
did, yeah.
is my better half.
We've heard a lot about you, Alex, all through this chat. So, people, Rocky Monster, you finally put a face to the name.
The chat better be positive because I'm cooking a dinner right now.
Oh, excellent. What's for tea?
We've got the barbecue going on. We've got some pork belly slow cooking on the barbecue.
Happy
I
days.
told you he's a keeper.
What about
You picked
Teapot?
well.
What are you having for dinner?
At this present moment in time, that's about it at the moment. I think I've got freezer surprise when I get downstairs. So we'll see.
Oh, well, you got the foundation right anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Every day's a Friday for podcasts, so we'll see. I don't know yet.
Fair one. Right, I'll
Cool.
leave you guys to it. I don't want to burn anything.
Cool.
See you, bud. Ta-ra.
Thank you. Cool. We've got our 3.
Excellent.
I'm really sorry for how painful that was, everybody. That's a really hard question.
That took about 25 minutes, people. Right. Have no say. I was looking at thinking, what is that? Have no say. For Vanessa, my wife is 5'1" and wants to start riding, but is always saying that her lack of height is holding her back. Where would be a good place for her to start and her fears over exaggerated? Oh, no, sorry. Where would be a good place for her to start and are her fears over exaggerated? I suspect she's not the only one
Okay.
being intimidated by heavy machinery. Excuse me.
Yeah, okay. I think there's a couple of answers to this. The first one is that a heavy bike doesn't mean you are holding the weight of that bike. I am a 62 kilo girl and I ride a 320 kilo motorbike. But at no point am I carrying that bike. You know, they're really well balanced. Modern motorbikes don't feel as heavy as they actually are. The weight's distributed, and you're not, you know, a Harley, hopefully, touch wood, woo, I'm never going to be picking it up. And if you do, you get someone to help you, right? So the weight of the bike, I don't think is something that you should really think too much about. However, if that is a big thing, obviously I've got my off-road vein, to everything that I do. And I really think for road riding, off-road riding is incredible for your confidence, your skill, and your riding ability. Things like being comfortable with your wheels spinning, your back wheels sliding out, slipping, sliding, all of the stuff that you get off-road. When you then have it in a situation where you're on the road, where you suddenly lose traction, your back wheel's next to you, it's not such a terrifying thing because you've dealt with it in a safer environment. So I honestly would say start with some off-road riding, and the massive advantage is that you're on a bike that is okay to be dropped. So there's no fear of dropping the bike and hurting it. You can throw them and do backflips on them, not with you on it, like cartwheel them out, and they just take it. So I'd say getting into, again, the trials is the one that I really lead to. It's the foundation of all biking. It's very slow, safe, controlled, skill-based, incredibly satisfying, and then you step your way up. Rome wasn't built in a day, and okay, other than Graham Jarvis, no one was born on a motorbike. We all have to learn and start somewhere, so it's just about taking it slow and making it easy. As far as height, that's tricky because when you are shorter, it's difficult when you can't reach the ground. So there are things that you can do as far as lowering bikes, getting scalloped seats, things like that to enable you to get a little bit lower. So do some research into, good options for the shorter side. But then there's also skills that you can do that make it so that you don't need to touch the ground in the same way. And that balance and slow maneuvering that you get, I guess, again, off-road is the easiest way to learn it because I'm not going to start trying to do a truck stand on my Harley. No chance. But, on the trials bike, I can stand stationary on my trials bike for 15 minutes and not put my feet down, completely stationary.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I learned that because after I think it was my last hip surgery, the only bike time I could get was on a stationary bike. I wasn't allowed the risk of even turning the engine on. So I just would come out to the garage and balance on the bike. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I can hold it for 15 minutes now.
Bloody hell.
And that's a skill that helps me every time I ride the bike. So it was rehab that has, progressed my riding, which is really cool. And then I think the final thing is just not to be scared about it. At the end of the day, if you drop your bike, as long as you're not being silly and going crazy, dropping a bike because you're short and, dropping it in the petrol station or anything like that, it's okay. It happens to the best of us. And don't be scared of that. And I think it's like the first day snowboarding or skiing. I think once you've had your first fall, you kind of ride better from then on because then you're reminded that actually it's all right to fall off, it's okay. But, that's from an off-road stance. If you've got a really, really shiny bike with lovely polished chrome and stuff.
So what would you say then, if you're going to go down that route of trials or off-roading, what is a good bike to start with? Is there such thing as an ideal first bike for a beginner doing that, like off-road?
Yeah, definitely. If you were to jump on, so I've got a Husqvarna TE 250i, and if you were to jump on it's a high-performance race bike, you jump on that, yes, you could learn to ride off-road on that bike, but you're going to have a much harder learning curve because that bike isn't going to be friendly to you. It's aggressive. You can flip that throttle and it will do a backflip. It's a high-performance bike. So having something that's a little bit more gentle and friendly to take you in is going to mean, yes, you might have to change bikes a couple of times on your journey, but you'll have an easier learning curve.
And your progress will be quicker as well,
Yeah, so it's like, don't just suddenly go out and buy a massive bike. It's not all about the torque and the power and the size. That's ego stuff. Something that is going to hold your hand and help you have a good time, build your confidence, and develop your skills. And so if you were to take trials, I started on a 125 beta, and don't be lulled into the 125 being only a 125. On a trials bike, that is serious power. That bike is 4 kilograms heavier than me. So it's a 60, I think it's 66 kilos, that bike, with a 125 two-stroke engine in it. It's plenty of power.
Yeah, just a bit, yeah. I'm just
yeah.
putting in comparison. I've just had a Sinus 125, Sinus Terrain. I've just had one of them for, I think, a week. I had it. And that was 150 kilograms. And it's a 125cc. You're talking about something that's less than half its weight. Wow.
And a 2-stroke.
Yeah. Oh, God. Of course. Which is like equivalent to a 250, I suppose, 4-stroke, isn't it? More or less.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do
Yeah.
direct comparisons, but yeah. Sinus
hell.
is someone that has amazed me. I had the Sinus Blade X and the Apache,
Right.
and I did a day green laning on them. They are great options for first time. If you want something to buzz around town, but then like, ooh, that little green lane looks fun. I had such a hoot on that bike. It was amazing. There's a YouTube
Well-
video actually of me riding it.
I've actually got the Apache coming, and I'm gonna be doing some off road on that. So by the time you
Please
either
can
listen,
I come with you? Please
What,
can I
you-
come with you?
you're more than welcome.
Oh,
I'm
wait.
hopefully doing it with Mr. Fish.
Oh no,
Go on.
hang on. Well, I'm promising things. I'm broken right now. I'm post surgery.
Oh yeah, of course you are.
I'm doing rehab and barely walking. So yeah.
Well, you'll be able to watch it anyway on YouTube. So by the time you either listen to this or watch this, I'll probably have already done it. But I am taking the Sinus Apache off road. We'll see.
The bit that limited me, I took it out on a really, really, really wet, muddy day, and I had the kind of standard tyres. They put the most off-roadiest tyres possible. Yeah, I was slipping and sliding all over the place, and it was such a hoot. But that bike, it's low, it's light, if you wobble and pull on the power, it's not
Yeah.
going to put you on your face. It was a lovely learner's bike.
Yeah, I
And
was
so
impressed with the
comfortable
terrain.
around town. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like
I was
3.5
impressed with terrain.
grand as well.
Is it? Okay.
It's something like that. Don't quote me on that price. It's ridiculously cheap. It's the sort of price where you go, wow. Yeah, that's a really good first bike. Because you don't have to worry about it in the same way. Like a Husqvarna, the TE, it's like 9.5 grand.
Wow, is it? Bloody
Yeah.
hell! Yeah, I know the terrain, the 125cc Sinus Terrain. That's 2.5 grand, but it's like 11.2, I think it is, brake horsepower. So I'm just over 20 stone. So you imagine what that was like with me on it. But I enjoyed it. I genuinely had a load of fun riding it. I had a great time. Yeah, put a smile on my face. Right, this has been, well, we're now at nearly 2 hours 40, but we've had a couple of pee breaks and we had about 8 hours waiting for your dinner guests. So, but we'll make this the last question.
How were they so late?
But we'll make this one the last question because it's the last
Okay.
of the Instagram ones. But if you're
Okay.
more than welcome to come back on, I would love to have you back on, and we'll
to.
do more questions another time. Excuse me. So this one is from Helen Goshwin, and she says, "An inspiration in many ways." If you don't want to talk about this, we can edit it out, okay? But I'm sure you are because I've seen you post about it. With your vitiligo, is it vitiligo? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
With-
vitiligo. But you've got a Scottish accent, so you might say
So I'm allowed.
Scottish way. It might sound like a cow mooing or something by the time you said it.
With your vitiligo, you describe one
Yep.
that looks like a dinosaur. So my question is, what is your favourite dinosaur?
Oh, I love that. Velociraptor all the way. Don't even have to think about it. Love Velociraptors. So it comes
Velociraptor.
from... Yeah. Oh my God, they're little animals and they're like really clever and they'll creep up on you and tap on the window. You know Jurassic Park, not the first one?
That's the little things that were evil, horrible little things.
Yeah,
That's your
they
favourite
are-
dinosaur.
Oh my God, hell yeah. They are
Wow.
just amazing. When I was a kid, I actually, with my cousin, this is when I was living away from my mum and dad, so I was living with my cousin, we used to play dinosaurs and he would be the Velociraptor and then I'd get to ride the Velociraptor and we'd run around the house attacking things.
Wow. Explains a lot.
Yeah. But I wonder if I can show you. It's not a very good light to show you the Velociraptor. I guess I need to show it up here. Well, it's a T-Rex. He's here. He's called Ra.
T-Rex is my one.
I'll
That's
show you
my
as well.
favourite.
Can you see him? Have I got the angle right? He's there.
That's it. Which? That's your knuckle. Oh, all right,
Yeah.
the shape. All right.
Yeah,
I was
the
looking at
shape
your
of the
rings thinking,
vitiligo.
what?
Oh yeah, my rings are pretty cool as well. Yeah, okay, let's
Yeah.
try it again, just in case I got it wrong. Maybe wait, Ra, he's there. That's his nose.
That's your favourite.
That's
Yeah,
Ra. I'm,
T-Rex is my one. Go on.
I have a motorbike helmet as well.
Have you? Mm-hmm. Dare we ask
So
where
I have
that is?
Okay. For anyone who doesn't know what vitiligo is, it was actually World Vitiligo Day on
That's
the
the next bit, yeah.
25th of July. And so I have vitiligo. It's a skin condition that is purely cosmetic in the pigmentation of the skin being lost. So you see the white patches here, if
Yeah.
you can see them. So that is where the skin loses its colour and becomes white. I have it all over my body in patches. It's all over my face as well. I choose to camouflage my face and have a more normal looking face. I use a product called Xanderm, which is just life-changing as far as my vitiligo coverage goes. But on my body, wild and free. Like you can see it all under my arms. Like it's all over me. But I have one that is shaped like a motorbike helmet. So I don't know how to get this on the camera, but it's there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there
How do
is.
I've got to check that it's on like the main camera. Hopefully that will it. If not, if I've missed that, I'll send you a photo. Just tell me when
Right,
you
you're
edit
on.
it.
Well,
But
I
it's
can
still
see
a
it.
motorbike helmet.
It genuinely is. I can see it on this one. So if it doesn't show up on your camera, I'll have it on this camera because I record this as a backup. But yeah, it genuinely does look like a motorbike helmet, doesn't it?
It's destiny, right?
So I mean, I take it you vitiligo, is that been from birth, or is that something that I pardon my ignorance, but I don't know much
No.
about it. Well, nothing about it.
No, it's fine. Most people don't know about it until it crosses their paths. And most people will have seen it on a random person in the street and thought, it was birthmarks or, loads of people think I've put my sunscreen on really badly or I've burnt or I've got scars or... but it's this one. Oh, my ring is caught in my hair. So, oh dear, headphones. Not very rehearsed at this, am I?
Dog on Pete Tong.
Oh god. So here, this one. This
Yep.
is the first patch I got, but it was about a quarter of that size, and I got that patch when I was 13.
Wow.
At the time, my mum and the medical team decided not to tell me that it was vitiligo and it was just a halo mole, which it was a halo mole. Just because I was about to go through GCSEs and stuff, and a few years
Yeah.
later, when it then started spreading, we tackled the fact that it's vitiligo, because I think the main thing with vitiligo that I would want to emphasize to people is that it's physical, but it doesn't have any implications physically other than, a high risk of skin cancer. The implications of it are psychological.
Yeah,
Because people stare, people look, people ask questions, people think that you've got a disease, is it contagious? And I did a post for World Vitiligo Day, standing proud with the fact that I've got it all over my body, trying to just help encourage every single mum and dad out there to tell their children about it, because it's just one of a whole handful of conditions that we just need to have a little bit more acceptance that, people are different, and these don't make me ugly or contagious or anything like that. We've got to find beauty in our differences. And I think if all children grew up with a little bit more understanding that differences are okay, and it's okay to be different, it's okay for someone else to be different on a whole heap of levels, I think the world would be, a nicer place. And I'm quite lucky that I've really learnt to love my skin in a unique way and feel confident with it. And I want to use that to help other people, I suppose, because we all face battles, whether it's a scar or a birthmark or acne or eczema. People have differences, I suppose.
What a beautiful ending. That is perfect. Really, Helen, thank you very much for the question. Brilliant. What more can you say about that? It's just you summed it up to a T, really. Yeah. Wow. Nothing else I can say about that, Vanessa. Brilliant. Don't change. Right. Well, that's us all done. The Instagram questions. I reckon we'll call it there for this one. And if you're willing to come on again at another point, then we'll do that.
Perfect. That sounds awesome. I've really enjoyed it. I've loved all the questions people have sent in.
Cool,
Thanks
me too.
for like taking the time to reply to you. That's really cool. Some hard ones.
Yeah.
Mainly the dinner question one. I don't know how awful I was at that.
Jeez, seriously, that was about, folks, that genuinely was about 20 minutes just covering that one question. But we got there in the end, didn't we?
did.
Right. Before we go, I know you have countless people who support in companies that support you along the way. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Feel free.
Oh, thank you. That's really
No
kind.
problem.
I guess the eyes that are looking behind are probably quite an important one. So I work with Teng Tools quite a lot. Having a garage full of motorbikes requires a lot of maintenance that I get really hands-on with my husband as well. And yeah, Teng are an incredible sponsor. Do you want me to list some of the...
Honestly, this is your time. You tell me.
You know what? I want to use this to take a moment for anyone who has aches and pains with something that I've discovered in my recovery that's really helped me, and that is active collagen. And it sounds like I'm just doing some kind of marketing pitch. I'm not. I do make a small commission. You know, we've all got to cover our bills and...
Absolutely. Yeah, I get that.
It's the way the world go round. But
Nothing is free in this life, is it?
Yeah. I'm a genuine, I will never stop taking it. The difference it's made for my body through my recovery is mind-blowing. So if you have any kind of aches or pains, pre-existing injuries, arthritis, tendonitis, ligaments, bone issues, Achilles, knee pains, achy shoulders, bad skin complexion, it's so the body is made up. 1/3 of the protein in our bodies is collagen, and from the age of 20, we start to lose or make less of the collagen as a natural form of protein in our body. So from that age, the amount of collagen that we have in our body that we really actually kind of need to keep everything strong and fit and smooth working starts to decrease. And so by taking the active collagen, it's replacing that, and it just helps so much. So for me, my hip massively. I know when the surgeon went back in for this 5th time, he was blown away by how strong everything was looking in there. The only thing I can put it down to is taking the active collagen. I used to have an achy left knee as a result of the compensation from the hips.
Yeah.
Don't have that anymore. I used to have creaky ankles every morning, and I'd have to almost like work them out in the morning. I don't get that
I've got
anymore.
that. From my rugby
so-
days, I've broke both ankles, so yeah, I get that.
No, playing rugby.
Yeah. Back in even before I was 20, my sort of rugby days were
Wow.
before I was 20, really. And yeah, I've broke both my ankles. Yeah.
Wow, ouch. Okay. Well, I need to send you the link to it as well. So if it sounds like it might be of interest to you, drop me a message and I will send you a link. It gives you a discount and it, gives me a little bit of a commission. But it's something
Definitely.
that if I can help people through what I've discovered in my recovery, it just makes it all so much worthwhile. And it's one of those things that I will never live without now. I want it in my body. Rocky Monster takes it as well.
Yeah.
And I want to spread the word on that, basically.
Vanessa, if you're happy doing it, if you send me the link, I'll put it in the show notes on the podcast and on the YouTube vid, and then people,
Great.
if that's something that's of interest you, use the link, get your stuff, and obviously that'll feed back to Vanessa as well. If that's
Perfect,
okay with
thank
you? Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's lovely. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else?
Nah, it's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, all good.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I've loved it. I've genuinely enjoyed it. I've said it to you before. I love your positive approach to life. It's really refreshing to see social media being used for what it should be used for, and spreading that positivity and a positive message. So don't change. Keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for coming on. And hopefully I might see you down at Toro again. You never know. We'll do the off-roading.
Hope so. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been awesome.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And all the best with the recovery. I'll be following it.
Thank you.
Cool. Folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. I know I have. If there's anything in what we've chatted about, if you want some more information, either drop me a line or drop Vanessa a line through probably Instagram. I'll leave some links down below there. Make sure you give her a follow. Anyway, as usual, folks, I think we're pretty much out of what's been going on. I think I'll not mention that word, but I think we're pretty much almost out of it. So keep doing your thing, keep doing what you're doing, look after those that you love. But most importantly, get on out there and live your life. Woo-ha!